It's summertime, 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 summertime. Let's shop them books and throw away. Say goodbye to dull school days. Put the lime and change your ways. It's summertime. Well, no more studying history and no more reading geography and no more geology. Geometry because it's older time. It's time to head straight for the mills. It's time to live and have some thrills. Come along and have a ball, a regular free-for-all. Well, are you coming or are you late? You slow boats on my welcome plate. Hurry up before I say it's summertime. Well, I'm so happy that
We are going way back to 1958. That's right. We're going back further than the length of time it has been since the Toronto Maple Leafs won a Stanley Cup. Oh, there's a reason I'm saying that, and I'll get to it in just a moment. But Summertime, Summertime by the Jamies from back in 1958 begins our time together on this 22nd of December, 2025. And I owe my best buddy the inspiration for the song that starts our show together today, because he sent me a message yesterday. In fact, why don't I just pull it up right now so I can read it word for word? It was short, it was to the point, but I needed it so badly because I had actually forgotten. Yesterday morning, my buddy texted me and said, "Congratulations, we made it. Summer is officially on its way." Yesterday, of course, marked the beginning of the winter solstice, which means despite the evidence to the contrary that exists outside your window, or when you step outside your door and you immediately clench up from the cold, winter had not even officially began until yesterday. However, when it does on the 21st of December, that marks the time when we get the least amount of daylight. And now, every day moving forward until that wonderful day in June, we get incrementally more daylight every day. So it's kind of like getting over the hump. And I can't help but think of our good friend who we lost far too young at the age of 70 just a few weeks ago, but none other than Preston Paul. And Preston Paul was fond of every June the 21st sending me an email to remind me that winter was coming. Because, of course, the summer solstice arrives and then we incrementally get less daylight until December the 21st. But we got over that hump yesterday, and I really did need it. It's tough on me at this time of year. I've never made any bones about that. I do not enjoy the winter months, and it seems to have been particularly wintry so far this year. So as I pulled into the parking lot this morning here at work, and I thought about my buddy's text and starting the show with this song, I also thought, well, hang on a second here. Almost the end of December. So if we can get through January and February, we can start thinking about spring, right? This is the way my mind operates. Hey, good morning. It is a Monday. I hope your day is off to a great start. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm questioning my life choices just a little bit today. I took a walk around the radio station, and I found basically nobody. Let me see. I can if I can count them on one hand, the entire radio division here at Rogers Kitchener. We've got Devin Robertson, Justin Kohler, Josh Gorey working out of our newsroom today. We've got Jen Tan working on the other side of the glass, playing the songs, playing the commercials, making sure we stay on time. And then you got me. And that's it. We are the only creatures stirring in this radio building today. I'll keep my eyes on the door and see if anybody else sneaks in. But 'tis the season, after all. We are doing the real thing, the real show, and that means the minute we begin every day, phone lines are open to you, and I hope you're interested and available for some conversation at 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. This time of the year always makes me feel a certain way. I will not deny the sentimentality that comes out. I get nostalgic. I think back on Christmases past and the holiday season. I truly enjoy the holidays. And I've been wondering about something rather specific. And it's been on my mind for a while, and it's on my mind even more now that we've arrived at this time of the year. Can you really go home again? And have you ever really? Have you tried it before? I'll get to the story behind the question at 9:15, but I'd love your feedback on that. Can you really go home again? Have you ever gone back to the place that you used to live? Because I'm trying to screw up the courage to do it myself. And by the way, despite evidence to the contrary at the beginning of the show with the Summertime by the Jamies song to get us started today, we will be playing your Christmas requests all day long today, all day long tomorrow. We've got a bunch left over from Friday because we couldn't get to everybody's request then. So if you didn't hear it Friday, you're going to hear it today. And if you want to share a request with us, you know how to do that, right? 519-570-2545, star 570, or 1-800-570-5715. You can also drop me an email to mike@570news.com. We will play as many of your favorite Christmas songs as we can between now and the end of the show today. Quick shout out to the Kitchener Ranger U16 AAA team. Big win for the U16s over the Waterloo Regional Police Blue Crew last night at Activa Sportsplex. A 7-4, a resounding victory for the U16s. But more than anything, this was a resounding victory for One Roof Youth Services, which was the organization that funds were raised for during last night's event. It was a lot of fun. As you can imagine, when you play a charity game like this, it's competitive, make no mistake about it. That Blue Crew, they got some guys out there that can really play the game, but they were matched up against some youth and some very talented youth at that. But we had a lot of fun over at Activa. The U16 AAA Rangers came out on top. And as I mentioned, the most important thing is that One Roof Youth Services benefits from the funds raised last night. Going back to the beginning of the show and the song from 1958 that takes us further back, even further back than the last Leafs Stanley Cup. We all know that last Stanley Cup for the Leafs came in 1967. And Leafs fans, we are feeling it. And this has been on my mind too. I'm not giving up by any stretch. However, I turned the game on last night, and it was the third period because I'd just gotten back from the charity game between Blue Crew and the U16 Rangers. And it was 1-0 for Dallas. And as soon as it went 2-0 for Dallas early in the third, I said, that's enough. The Leafs, they're just not playing well enough right now to come back in this game. Again, not giving up on the team. I'm not going to be that Leafs fan. However, I am feeling every bit of it this year. 1967. Clinton's email to mike@570news.com. The Leafs and I are on a break, effective immediately. After last night's game, I think it's time we talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, not as fans, but as people who deserve better life choices. We are sitting at 57 years since the last Stanley Cup. And if they keep this up, 2034 will mark a 67-year drought. 67 years since 1967. That's not irony. That's the universe winking at us. Listen, Clinton, why are you jumping all the way to 2034? What are you doing here? Every season, Clinton writes, follows the same script. A talented roster, a few highlight reel moments, and then a playoff collapse so predictable it might as well be printed on the NHL calendar. And right on cue, we hear the classic refrain. Maybe it's time for another rebuild. So maybe it's time for a boycott or a sabbatical. Or, and I know this will make you physically recoil, Mike, maybe even a brief fling with the team that shall not be named. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Listen, Clinton, you can't do that, okay? Whatever you do, don't do that. I understand how frustrating this is, and I'm actually at the point where I'm starting to think I may shake free from this mortal coil before the Leafs ever win a Stanley Cup. But I'm not going to give up. I might give up on the season, or I might turn off a game in the third period when it's 2-0. But you cannot, under any circumstances, cheer for the team that shall not be named. All I want for Christmas is a better performing team in 2026. Just ahead of our Farwell Show 5 this morning, let's get to the phones and hear from you. James is with us. Morning, James.
Morning, sir. I'm going to change the topic very quickly here.
Of course you can.
For all you listeners out there who know what Mike does in the springtime during the Farwell Fire campaign, you know about that, but what you might not know is Mike does a whole bunch of other stuff for the community throughout the year. On Saturday, Mike was wrapping Christmas presents and delivering them. And what he didn't know was he was going to be thrust into the role of the lead for a documentary video about the thing. Surprise, surprise. He knows how to handle a microphone. And I just want to let everybody know what a great guy you are, Mike, for doing that. So way to go. You take direction well. Awesome.
James, you shoot a good video. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, man. Cheers. Have a great day. That's my brother calling in to sing my praises. Listen, my beloved found the Family 100 experience last year. The Reitzel family, Jeff and Jim, have been doing this for almost 20 years now. And it is what it sounds like. 100 families in our community get gifts and stockings full of Christmas cheer through the generosity of the Reitzels and their network. And there's a big day leading up to the holidays where a whole bunch, like dozens of people, get together, wrap the gifts, deliver the gifts. I was only there to tag along, and it was great. Really enjoyed it. So I appreciate you, James, but there were dozens of other people that did as much as, if not more, than this old guy, who, yes, has been known to say a word or two. Jersey Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Well, I've got two things to say you brought up. The first is this interesting winter. I mean, it's going back to the way winter used to be probably as when you were a child.
Oh, I remember.
When your father was a child.
Yes, sir.
Where this area had could reliably have 4 months of winter, the 3 months of the calendar, and throw in all of December as well. And even down in New Jersey, they had some snow, and we used to have a reliable 3-month winter. It's now, maybe we get a month of it, maybe we get 6 months. There are climate changes that we're all living with, but this year is a reminder of what used to be. Also, when you talk about going back, I know I can't go back to where the houses of my grandparents are long gone.
What about the house you grew up in, though? That's what I'm going to get to. What about the house you grew up in?
We sold it. I'm living off the profits by maintaining their house throughout their life. We sold it. But
don't you ever want to go back? Do you ever think of that? To go knock on the door of the new owner and say, "Hey, it's Billy. I used to live here."
No, what happened was I wasn't involved in clearing it out because we came down with COVID as we were going back down there to do that with my sister. So she arranged for the house essentially to be changed. So I know the house has changed inside. Outside it looks the same. I've got those strong memories, and I keep wanting to go down there and spend some more time with my sister and her family. But, conditions being what they are, I'm not being able to do that. And I'm not even being melancholy about that. I've thrown in my lot with my wife's family. They've accepted me as one of their own. So I'm, and also having the grandson helps significantly because you can build new memories with that next generation. That's what's really important. And doing the charitable things like you do, I'll never match you. And as I say, that's that charitable work, along with your sports activity, and even you showing up these last 2 days before Christmas. Boy, I'm really hoping that 1% of Vladimir Guerrero solution was something that was maybe approached on your review there the other day.
Well, Billy, I really appreciate that. And it's funny. So you're not that melancholy. I am. And I'll get to it again in just a moment. I don't know, especially this time of year. Conservative Charlie, he'll probably change that for me, though. Morning, Charlie.
No, Mike, my wife Len and myself appreciate the nice thing you said about Paul Robertson, especially this time of the year. That was nice.
Oh, yeah, he was a beauty.
And from the two of us, very happy Christmas to you and yours.
To you and Lynn as well. Thanks, Charlie.
And on the, I guess, I I don't know what you call this, Mike, but here's the problem I can see with the Leafs, and you talked about it. You know, their captain, he's from San Ramon, California. He's the first U.S. player to captain the Leafs in the 170-year-old history. Why did they have to take the captain away from a guy from Mississauga named John Tavares? I think that was a kiss of death right there. But that's just me. But on the better side, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But, Mike, we know who's going to make the playoffs
Easy
in the
now.
NFL now.
Oh, in the NFL. you
You
know,
know who's going to, this guy,
yeah.
the Thriller in Motown. Did you watch that?
I had to go to the hockey game with the kids and the Blue Crew, but I did follow the score on my phone, and I know the Steelers won. Yeah.
This old guy passed for another, they had 481 yards offense. Rogers passed for 266 yards. No interceptions. They're 2 games ahead of Baltimore now with 2 games left. Mike, I think they're in the playoffs.
Charlie, I agree. I'm hopeful, although remember, winning playoffs games has been tough for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Can you ever go home again? Have you ever gone home again? We'll explore the question right after your Farwell Show 5. All right, number 1 on that Farwell Show 5 this morning. Australian police documents reveal that a man accused of killing 15 people at Sydney's Bondi Beach conducted firearms training in an area of New South Wales state with his father. The documents say the 2 men recorded footage justifying the planned attack at a Hanukkah celebration earlier this month. Number 2, Manitoba has no plans to lift a ban on alcohol products from the U.S. at government-run liquor stores. The ban was imposed in March in response to U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods. American officials have recently said that lifting provincial bans on American liquor is necessary for upcoming negotiations on extending the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is defending the Justice Department's decision to release just a fraction of the Jeffrey Epstein files by the congressionally mandated deadline. Blanche is pledging that the Trump administration will eventually meet its obligation required by law. But he says that his department was obligated to act with caution as it goes about releasing thousands of documents that can include sensitive information. Number 4, the Canadian men's soccer team is closing out the year unchanged at number 27 in FIFA World Rankings. It's the highest ever year-end position for the team. Canada is getting ready for next year's World Cup in North America, where they will be facing Switzerland, Qatar, and a yet-to-be-decided European team in Group B action. Spain and Argentina are top 2 in the rankings. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, the University Challenge Cup 2025 is taking place in Guelph beginning on December the 27th. That is this Saturday. It runs through the 31st. 16 university teams from across Canada will be competing for the championship. Local teams include the Waterloo Warriors, the Laurier Golden Hawks, the Guelph Griffins, and the McMaster Marauders. Admission to all games is free. Full schedule is available at nationalringatleague.ca. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Monday morning, the 22nd of December. I admit to getting a little sentimental at this time of the year. And every year for the past many, on Christmas Day, I will take a long winter's walk. And I'm very fortunate that Rosie the pandemic pup is always up for it. Even Ranger the wonder pup, before we lost his beautiful soul, was up for this walk. And it's a hefty one from where we live now back into the old neighborhood. And I always, in that neighborhood, make a point of stopping by the final resting place for my sisters, which just happens to be in the neighborhood where I grew up, back in the old North Ward. And I walk past the house where I was until I was about 6 years old. And I think almost even more significantly, my great-grandmother's place, where we spent many a family gathering. I would sometimes go there from school for lunches and whatnot. And I know how different they are just looking at them from the outside. But I'm dying to knock on the door and find out, I want to see them again. What do they look like today? I know they've changed, What would it be like? But I haven't had the courage. So I'm curious from you about this. Like, can you go back home again? Have you ever done this, gone back to a childhood home and looked around again? Do you triple dog dare me to knock on the door this year? Maybe I won't do it on Christmas Day, but sometime over the holidays because I really want to go back inside. But can you do that? Have you ever been compelled to do that like I feel so compelled to do? Would love your thoughts. 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. Can I go home again? Should I knock on the door of my childhood home and ask if I can nose around a little bit? This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
When I was small, I believed in Santa Claus, though I knew it was my dad. And I would hang up my stocking at Christmas, open my presents, and I'd be glad.
Those are the Kinks and Father Christmas on your All Request Monday here on the Farwell Show. We're playing your favorite Christmas tunes all day because if we're going to be here, we're going to play Christmas tunes. Now, here's the big question, though. Can you go home again? Have you ever gone back to a childhood home, knocked on the door, asked if you could poke around a little bit? Because I've been dying to do that, but I haven't been able to screw up the courage. And every year at this time of year, I think about it even more often. Monique, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, Monique, you know how much I love my first-time callers, don't you?
And I want a number at the end.
You want a number at the end? I'll give you a
Yes,
number.
I
All right.
do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to pull your heartstrings a little bit, Mike.
Let's hear it.
Are you ready? Okay, I am a military brat, which means I do not have a hometown
Oh, my gosh.
because we moved every 4 years we moved, so we had to make a new home. So this year, Mike, I double dog and triple dog dare you for my heart for you to knock on that door because that is your home, and I've always been jealous of people that had a hometown.
You know,
Can you do that for me this Christmas? Can
Yeah.
you make my Christmas dream come true?
so we're going to make two Christmas dreams come true at once, yours and mine.
Absolutely.
Okay, Monique. I'm going to do it. I'm going to knock on that door this holiday.
You know what? I think it's going to be very rewarding for you, and I will look forward to the new year to hear that you did it.
That sounds great. And Monique, you are now officially Farwell's Force member number 250. 250 is
Yes.
yours.
Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Monique. Thanks for the call. Take good care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's now I really have to do it for Monique's sake and for mine. I wonder what he's going to say. I think I know who lives there because I saw the address show up on an election form a while ago. Ranger Joe, good morning.
Mikey, good morning. How are you?
Good, buddy.
Good. Hey, Mike, I still have all my Ranger, my Maple Leaf jerseys, I should say, and all the other stuff Leaf related. But you know what? Before the season started, Mike, I made a prediction that the Leafs would be lucky to get 80 points, and I think I'm on target, and I have to work hard to hit the 80 points, to be honest with you. The Stars aren't scoring the way they should be. The team in general is playing scrambly hockey, Mike. It just doesn't look good. And I think I'm with you. I mean, you know what? Love your Leafs like I do and like you do, but this season is over.
Yeah, I hear you, Joe, and we're changing topics because that's what you do when you just take phone calls live. We went from, can you go home again, to are we giving up on the Leafs this year? You make choices where you invest your time, and they don't seem like the best investment right now. This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio, and sometimes Rogers TV.
Twas in the moon of winter time, when all the birds had fled, that mighty Kitchi Manitou sent angel choirs instead. Before their light the stars grew dim, and wandering hunters heard the hymn. Jesus, your King is born. Jesus is born.
The Huron Carol by Tom Jackson for M in Guelph, Farwell's Force. Member number 73. You may have heard us just before the 9:30 update with Justin Kohler. Add Monique to our official list of Farwell's Force members at number 250. Sean is in there at 251. Bill has jumped on at number 252. If you're wondering what all the fuss is about with Farwell's Force, we are a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. And you are welcome to be a member of this ever-growing force. All you have to do is listen for 15 minutes every day. I know, I put that qualifier in there. Can't be 15 minutes on Monday and then Thursday. It has to be 15 every day. You choose the 15 minutes. Even more is even better. But if you're a 15-minute listener, drop me an email, mike@570news.com, or call Jen and say, I want to be a member of Farwell's Force. We'll add you to the list. 252 members now. And climbing. It is that time of year where we take a look back at the year that was and maybe what we're hoping for in the year ahead. And on a show like this, we do this with elected leaders. So I'm pleased to welcome to the show this Monday morning Jan Liggett, who is the mayor of Cambridge. And I think one of the big stories in Cambridge this year was the way the budget rolled out. And it was a bit of a bumpy road, Mayor Jan. How do you feel about where you ended up on the Cambridge budget this year?
Well, people think that, it's terrible, the word strong mayor, and I keep saying that has set the mayors in the province up for failure, just that terminology, because it makes it sound like we're this big, powerful body of mayors that get to skip over the heads of everybody else. But when we do the budget, the only difference in the beginning of the budget is that I sit in on all the meetings with staff when they're trying to figure out what to put into the budget, what to cut from the budget. And it's such a great learning opportunity, because even as mayors, we don't know all the nitty-gritty of what goes on in the city, and nor should we. I mean, that would really be getting into the weeds to do that on a daily basis. But I have that opportunity from June till when the budget is finally presented to get to know more and understand more. And I wish that there was some sort of a training process, like a school that people could go to, that would provide education for people who are thinking about running for municipal council, to teach them these things. There is no such thing. And by the time I present the budget, everything is the best that it could possibly be. Before, a lot of people say we'll send it back for them to cut more. Well, I know that they have cut as much as they can. There's nothing that can be cut unless we're going to cut necessary services, and no one wants to do that. So all the Strong Mayor Powers does, it gives me the job of presenting that budget, which is what happens the first night. I present the budget, council gets to see it, they walk away with it, they do their homework with it, and they come back another night and they put their amendments on the floor. It's really interesting, the difference between councillors around the table, because some never ask questions of staff, and others ask multiple questions a day of staff on different budget items. I don't know which one is better. It's the medium road that I think is better. And I know that, council did not like the way the administration had set up the conversations of asking questions of staff. That was an administrative decision, like we said to them, that everything is open to change. So the budget system is brand new. It's in its second year of how it's going to work, and council will have an input into the changes they want to see for next year. when that budget comes down and what happens. And it'll be a new council because it'll be an election year. So I'll still do the budget, but it will be a new council who makes those decisions. And I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt about keeping council out of the process, but this is exactly the way it has been done every year since the beginning of time, where they get to amend the budget once it's presented to them by staff. The only difference is I presented it instead of staff presented it. And there were 2 kicks at the can. If they wanted changes, they could make changes. And I didn't veto anything. But I think what bothers me most is it looks like with the amendments that council were doing something to drop the tax levy for the population, but none of the amendments other than Councillor Schwery's amendment actually changed the levy. Because the monies were coming from some other place that had nothing to do with how much we charge in taxes. Councillor Schwery's is a troublesome motion because it puts us behind the 8 ball next year. We'll be over 2% to start off the budget before we put on any new services. That's okay if you do it once, but if you do that more than once, you are in serious trouble as a city. And I have grave concerns for 2027, the bills that are going to come through in 2027, in particular with the economic downturn that we're in now. I see more and more people will not be able to pay their taxes.
Much more recently, we had that awful tragedy in Cambridge where that 3-year-old child was struck by the driver of a vehicle and killed. Cedar Street, you have brought forward a motion that was supported unanimously, Mayor Jan, for safety improvements on Cedar. I think it's St. Andrews to Grand Ridge. But what are you hoping to see happen there?
Well, I spoke with Mr. Spooner of the region. He said they are quite willing to take all that into consideration. They were already looking at changes there. I spoke to him about the way the lights and those types of crosswalks are, that they're amber. I said, I don't understand why, because it's a provincial legislated coloring, right? I said, why are they not red? Like, red is a high alert that there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. You see a flashing, that's just a caution. But if you see a red, then you know up ahead there's something happening. But from what I understand, what I was told was that the mother and child were not in the crosswalk. They hadn't even entered the crosswalk at that point in time, that the driver had turned left and had struck them when they were still on the mall property and had dragged the stroller.
When we look back over the past year, Mayor Jan, in Cambridge, you had an organizational restructuring, you had some staff turnover, you had some safety concerns at City Hall. When you look back over the past 12 months in the city, how is Cambridge doing? Is morale good within the corporation? Are citizens being served by those who are on staff, et cetera?
I think so. We have an amazing staff, and I've gotten to know them so well over the years as being mayor. I have regular meetings with the directors of the different departments, the general managers, and I have an open door policy which the new city manager has as well. He's been meeting all kinds of people. And my door's open. If you want to talk to me about what's going on anywhere in the city, talk to me about it. And if it's something that, I always check my facts. I never assume that what somebody is telling me is correct. I always check my facts first. And if I find it's something that perhaps I should take to somebody else, or maybe it's something I can handle, then that's done. We've done a check on our Service Cambridge, which is when people call in for things to be done. We found that there was some dropped calls, or people were waiting on the line too long, that sort of thing. That department did a complete check a pulse check on what was going on. They've improved that, and there's always room for improvement, right? But our response rates have been improved drastically. We took residents' concerns and we went to work. We can achieve more, absolutely, because, like I said, there's always room for improvement. everything, no matter what we do. But I think the culture is very good. I put two new city managers in. I moved all the finances stuff under one person rather than spread out. Our IT, our HR, our clerk's department, that part of public service is all put under somebody else. Planning department was kept with one person who's been doing it for a number of years, and I moved bylaw over underneath them because it just made sense that bylaw and planning should be handled by one person. Our recreation and culture, that was a position that was the actual new one that was created. There was only one new one that was created. The second one was always there. It had been a gapped position, but the person who is handling rec and culture, I actually put the facilities under them because we had the events, we had the room bookings and all that, but we didn't have, they weren't, everything wasn't together. So how can you set up, if you're not looking at what's available in our facilities for sports, how can you set up the users? Everything had to go together. It was just common sense that a lot of what I did. And I did consult with all of the directors, at the time they were called deputy city managers, and the city manager. Everybody was consulted with. I asked them to come back to me with if they were to do that job, how would they do a restructuring and give me the feedback as to why I wanted them to qualify it, and also give me what would happen financially should those happen, whether it would cost a bit more money or cost less money. And I merged a lot of that stuff. In this new role of mayors, you have a foot sometimes in both worlds, administrative and political. And council doesn't have that. We only have normally the political world, the policies and the making the laws and that. But the administration part of it, council's never had a role in that, and I don't think that they should have. And it's a struggle, to do that. But that's a role that we've been delegated as mayors to do.
Cambridge Mayor Jan Liggett joins us for a year-end conversation here on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. We'll take a break, come back with what's important for the city of Cambridge in 2026, according to the mayor. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Come down to the manger, see the little stranger, wrapped in swaddling, lo, the Prince of Peace. The wheels start turning, torches start burning, and behold, wise men journey from the east.
Christmas Must Be Tonight by the band, by request from Sue, Farwell's Force member number 4, on this All Request Monday, Christmas Songs Edition. Because if we're working today, we're playing Christmas music for you. If we're working at this time of the year, we're into the midst of year-end conversations. Our conversation with Cambridge Mayor Jan Liggett continues. Mayor Jan, we're heading into a new year, obviously. I don't know what you do as an elected official in terms of looking ahead, but if I were to ask you to do that, what are your hopes for Cambridge in 2026?
Well, as you know, I have taken seriously our mental health and addictions. I'm going to continue on that. I had my summit in October, which was very well attended, and it was a very emotional time for a lot of people. Some of the stories that were told were very informative, and the panelists and the speakers were very well received. Because you can't have a healthy city, you can't have a healthy society if we don't take care of the people who are suffering from that. So I'm going to continue my work through big city mayors and my connections with the premier and the different ministries. I have good relationships with all of them. I'm going to continue pushing for changes to the Mental Health Consent Act and I'm going to continue pushing, as I always have, for more detox beds, rehab beds, and in particular the recovery beds. And I'm, you saw the move that council made the other night at Regional Council for a women's warming center. That's something that's very necessary also in the mental health and addictions. There's no places for women to go. So that's something that is extremely important to me. And economic development, we have plans for a nuclear summit. As you know, or maybe you don't know, I hosted the Auto Mayors Caucus in October. It was very well attended, and it was so good to do that and have people lined up to speak to me afterwards, mayors, CAOs, saying how amazing our city was. They were blown away by our city, driving through it. Even those who had been here before, they felt that we have something that other communities have lost over time because we've taken care of our heritage, and they feel good come driving in and seeing what we have. So I'm going to play on that, and the city manager and I met yesterday for the development of the Summit on Nuclear Industry, because we have a lot in Cambridge. I don't think people realize what leaders in that industry we are. And nuclear is something that the federal government and the provincial government are going to be putting more funds into, and we're at the vanguard of that. So the economic development of the community, I'm going to continue with that. The other thing is our Hespeler Road secondary plan. We were kind of caught. We can't approve something until that developer goes through the requirements for them to make sure that their residential development and their commercial development is not going to go up in an explosion. We would be liable if we had approved that. So we put a hold on the Hespeler secondary plan. We decided that what we would do, we've carved out a donut. So 300 meters you have to have around a facility in order to do what they want to do. So we've carved that donut out, and we're going to continue with the secondary plan so the development on Hespeler Road can happen. I met with one of the people developing on there last week, I believe, and reassured him that we've done that so that he can go forward with that development. So that's some of the things that I'm working on, and I'm hoping to continue. We've also got the supportive housing development. I'm hoping that the ribbon cutting for the launch of that will happen, and so I think there's 45 supportive housing units coming into Preston. That's really exciting. We have our Sportsplex, which will have a soft launch in November next year. That's been a long time coming, as you know. I've been around from the beginning of that, and continuing our work with the senior adults. Wrong words there. I should choose my words better. It's older adults now. Don't you just love these change in terms? You can't say it like it is. So what's defined as a senior adult? 50 years old nowadays. But we're working on that, and our Parks Master Plan we just did this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of that implemented, but those are decisions that a council will make. We won't, as of, I think, beginning of May, we won't be able to do much. So most likely a lot of that will happen when the new council comes in.
Lots going on, as always, and you've given us plenty of time over the past 12 months. We appreciate that, Mayor Jan, and look forward to continuing conversations into 2026. Thank you for this today, and a very Merry Christmas to you and yours.
I'm a Merry Christmas kind of gal, so I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. And please, everybody, have a new year filled with health, happiness, and peace.
Thank you so much. You take care. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.
Cambridge Mayor Jan Liggett joining us for a year-end conversation, the year that was, and what she expects to happen in Cambridge in 2026. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center. And then in the spirit of the season, Let's have a little fun, shall we? Your not $1 million question, but it's a not $1 million Christmas question today. Over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that secretly gets regifted every year. I don't believe the answer, but if you think you know it, give us a call. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. No, I just need your love. Expensive rings or diamond things. No, I just need your love. Don't get me wrong, a shiny new Mercedes would look nice in my driveway. Or a round trip ticket for a long vacation on a big fancy jet plane. There's only one thing that I want, baby, it's hard to find, and it's already mine. I don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. No, I just need your love.
That is Casey Musgraves and Ribbon and Bows on your All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. I got an email from Sean, and Sean and I are similar in a couple of regards. One is he confesses to be a fan of rock music more than anything, but country has its place, and one of those places is Christmas. Could not agree more. I also think a nice summer's day with a cold can of beer is a pretty good place for country music as well. And Sean is also working in an otherwise virtually vacant office building today. Welcome to the club, Sean. Casey Musgraves and Ribbon and Bows on your All Request Monday here on the show. Christmas Songs Edition. If you are a regular listener of this show, well, thank you very much, first and foremost, for that. I don't think I say it often enough, and I want you to know how much I truly appreciate your listening and your participation in this show. I know many are just passive participants in this show. You listen and you don't email or call, and that's absolutely fine. And for those of you that do email and call, it is also very much appreciated. But the time that you spend with us, I hope, and it makes me feel like we are rewarding you for that time you spend. So thank you very much for that. And we usually do, for you regular listeners, you would know, these all request shows on Fridays. We put a theme to them and we play some of your favorite songs that fit that particular theme. Obviously, it's the time of year for Christmas music. So we did Christmas music on Friday. And as usual, that's a very popular request day. We had some carry over into today. And I figured also, what the heck? I'm going to be here working. And tomorrow, we're just going to play Christmas music because it is that time of year. So if there is a Christmas song that you would like to hear a little bit of, by all means, share your request with us, because I'm certain that through the day today and into tomorrow, we've still got a few spots for your favorite Christmas song. You can drop me an email to mike@570news.com or just give us a call. And when Jen answers on the other side of the glass, you can just tell her what song you would like to hear, okay? Numbers, and you'll need these numbers. I'll remind you of them because we're about to do another typical Friday thing on this Monday. But the numbers to reach us on the show, 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Something else we usually do on Fridays, but in the spirit of the season, I thought we would carry over into Monday, and we're going to do it again tomorrow as well, because why not? It is the holidays after all. On Friday mornings, we do this little thing called the Not $1 Million question. It's called the Not $1 Million question because one day I made the mistake of calling it the $1 Million question. Just, hardy har har. But somebody said, if I get the answer right, are you going to give me $1 million? I cannot do that. I don't have $1 million personally. I don't think the station's ready to put up a $1 million prize. So we call it the Not $1 Million question because you will not win $1 million if you can answer the question. However, we're going to be awfully impressed with you. We're going to think you're the smartest person we ever met in 2025. So feel free to take your best stab at the Not $1 Million question, Christmas edition, because we're here at holiday time. And the question today is, Over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that is secretly regifted every year. What do you think the number one thing is that people secretly regift? And I guess it's not going to be a secret once we reveal the answer this morning, which we will do before 10:30. But if you want to take a stab at this, over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that secretly gets regifted every year. I had the answer in my head. Immediately, what came to my mind was, as it turns out, the wrong answer. And quite frankly, when I see the answer to this not $1 million question, because I have the benefit of it, I cannot believe this. If you bought this for me, I promise you, I guarantee you, I would not regift it. I would keep this thing forever and ever. Amen. In fact, I don't know if this is too big a hint. I have one of these things already, and it's showing its age. That's how much use it gets. That's how much I love it. And that's how much you will have to pry it from my cold, dead hands. I would never regift this. That's a pretty big hint, I think. I don't usually give hints on the not $1 million question. But again, I will ask you. Over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that gets secretly regifted every year. What do you think it is that gets regifted every year? 519-570-2545. Star 570 and 1-800-570-5715. You think you know the answer to our not $1 million question Christmas edition today? Take your best stab at it. Over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that secretly gets regifted every year. We'll start taking your guesses right after this on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. She'd been drinking too much eggnog, and we begged her not to go, but she forgot her medication, and she staggered through the door out in the snow.
There is one in every Christmas crowd that wants to hear the song about Grandma getting run over by a reindeer. And in this particular Christmas crowd, it's Norma. Farwell's Force member number 31 wanted to hear Elmo and Patsy. Grandma got run over by a reindeer on this all-request Monday Christmas Songs edition. Your request is our command. We are also playing a Christmas edition of the not $1 million question today. You don't get $1 million, but we're going to be very impressed if you know the answer to the question, which is over 35% of us say this is the number one gift that gets secretly regifted every year. My first guess, I can't believe I was wrong. I also can't believe I didn't come up with this one. Sean emails me, Mike at 570news.com. It has to be chocolates. I once gave my father chocolates, and I kid you not, 3 days later, those same chocolates were regifted and put back on us. He forgot that he got them from us. That's a better guess than my first guess, Sean, but also not the answer we're looking for. Let's go to the phones and hear your guesses. Patty, good morning. Patty's not there. Patty, if you want to try again, we'll leave a phone line open. Maybe Patty was going to guess chocolates. Dean, good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Do you know what the number one gift that is regifted is?
I am thinking a coffee mug.
Oh, that is also a very good guess. Not the answer we're looking for, but thanks for playing along.
Okay.
All right, Dean. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Appreciate the call today. 35% of us say this is the number one gift that gets re-gifted. And for the record, I don't believe it for 1 second. Maria, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Okay, here's my guess.
Okay.
It's got to be fruitcake.
Maria, you only re-gift fruitcake to people you don't like. People give you fruitcake if they don't like you, and then you give it to somebody else if you don't like them. Isn't that the way it works?
I guess, but here's a fun fact, Mike. I actually love fruitcake. So if I got fruitcake, I wouldn't re-gift it. I would eat it.
Okay, to Maria's friends, get the woman some fruitcake for Christmas. Not the answer, but a great guess. Thanks, Maria.
Thanks, Mike. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Great to hear from you today. Maria might be the first person I've ever met who likes fruitcake. Listen, I know some people actually like butter tarts with raisins, too. I've heard from lots of them. I don't understand them, but I've heard from them. I don't know that I've ever heard from anybody else who likes fruitcake. But that is not, according to our not $1 million respondents, the answer to the question. The number one most re-gifted gift is, and as I said before, I'm kind of like Maria with fruitcake. If I got this gift, I would never give it away. Never would I re-gift it. George, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
First thing that came into my mind was gift cards.
Oh, gift cards. That's another really good guess. Not the answer we're looking for, but an excellent guess.
I could have used that fake $1 million.
No. How about how impressed we would be with your knowledge, George? You don't even get that now. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas anyway.
Take care.
Thanks. You too. I never thought of that. But see, I like where you're going with this, right? Chocolates, a coffee mug, a gift card, right? Because it's not something you wear. You're not going to have a proper size or the right color. I see where you're going with this, but still not the answer we're looking for. Let's find out if Tony knows the answer. Tony, we say this is the number one thing that gets re-gifted every year. What do you think it is?
Well, I was going to say a pair of Leaf tickets, but I don't think anybody wants those.
Much like the fruitcake, Tony, nobody wants it.
Actually, I was going to say a cheap bottle of wine.
That was you and me thinking the same thing. I don't even care. I don't know much about wine, but I thought booze right away. Same idea, right? You can just re-gift it. Yeah, but not the answer we're looking for.
All right. Merry Christmas, Mike.
Merry Christmas, Tony. Great to hear from you today. See, I think we're all along those same lines. And in fairness, because I get to peek ahead at the answer, this is also something that obviously the other person wouldn't know it was ever intended for you. It's not your color or your size, etc. But it's not a box of chocolates. It's not a coffee mug. It's not a gift card. It's not a bottle of booze. I wonder if Mark knows the answer. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mike. I'm going to take a stab at it.
All right. We say this is the number one most re-gifted gift every year. What do you think?
You said you've got one and it's weathered a bit. I'm going to say a pen.
Oh, my. That excellent guess, Mark, because you know how I love my pens, right?
Yes, I do, Mike.
Not the answer we're looking for, but an excellent guess.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Great to hear from you today. That's a really good guess because I do love my pens, but I don't know. Do pens look worn? They run out of ink a lot because I still use them. I've got my little scratch pads in here. I love writing stuff down, and I always have to hold a pen when I'm on the air. It's an old habit, and it has died hard. Not that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, by the way. I just am using an old phrase. Shane is with us. Farwell's Force member number 228. Good morning, Shane.
Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it right.
You got it right? Okay, over 35% of people. Oh, you got your number right.
I got my number right.
You're a donkey. All right. Over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that gets re-gifted every year. Let's see if you get this right.
Got to be those tacky ties that we used to get when we were,
I love a good tie. Do you remember the Looney Tunes ties? They were a thing for a while.
I still have mine.
I think I finally got rid of mine, I think. I had Bugs
Mine
Bunny
are all
on
wrapped in plastic, hanging up in the closet. There will be a day where it will come back as a fad, along with the bell bottoms and all the rest of that junk we used to wear when we were kids.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not the answer we're looking for, Shane, but good guess.
If you've got any alcohol that you want to re-gift, you know my number and you got my email. Just let me know and I'll swing by and grab it.
You got it, pal. I will let you know.
Right.
But you think I'm re-gifting alcohol? Come on.
Well, I won't take wine, but, like if you get anything harder than that, I'll be more than happy to take it off your hands, my man.
All right, Shane. Fair
Merry
deal.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, my friend. You do a job like this for 365 days. You think I'm not going to tipple a little bit over the holidays? You got another thing coming, let me tell you. John is with us playing the not $1 million Christmas question today. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Lord Farwell. We haven't spoken in a long time, have we?
It has been a while, Judge John. Good morning to you, sir.
What's this I hear about something called the Farwell farce, anyway?
Now, listen here, Judge John. It's the force. It might be a farce to some. I love it.
Well, considering your sense of humor, I thought that would be appropriate.
It would be appropriate. You're right. We are not farcical, though. We're a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with, my friend.
Uh-huh. You're convinced anyway.
More often I say it, the more convinced I get.
Good for you.
All right, John. What do you think is the number one thing we re-gift?
This is a totally wild guess, but I would say possibly a wallet.
Oh, you know what? Another very good guess. Not the answer we're looking for, but I like where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
All right, John. Best of the season to you, my friend.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you, John. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well. Let's try Romeo here, see if Romeo knows the answer to our not $1 million Christmas question today. Good morning, Romeo.
Morning. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you very much.
My answer would be socks.
Oh, man. That's another very good one. And my mom used to buy me socks every year right into my young adulthood. She would not stop buying socks, and I loved her for it. I kept them all. I don't have them all anymore, though, but not the answer we're looking for.
Oh, I got them every year.
Yeah.
Sick of them.
Who doesn't need them, though? Everybody needs socks, right?
Sure, but I buy my own every year.
Yeah, that's what happens when we grow up, isn't it?
Yep.
All right, thanks,
Have a good
Romeo.
one, Mike.
You too. Good to hear from you today. Let's see if Mike knows the answer to our not $1 million Christmas question. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Farwell Force member 37 here.
Point Clark, Mike.
I think it's toiletries, soaps, or perfume or something like that.
Yeah, again, I think you're on a good path there, but not the answer we're looking for. Sorry.
Okay.
All right, Mike. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Good to hear from you today from up in Point Clark, beautiful Bruce County. I love that part of the world. John's email to Mike at 570news.com. I've re-gifted wine many times because I'm a beer drinker, but what about gift cards? Yeah, that one came up, but it's an excellent guess. It really is, but not the answer we're looking for in our not $1 million Christmas question today. Your answer is just moments away. But since we're doing Christmas, we best take care of this important thing. Hans Gruber falling from Nakatomi Tower. We have to count him down to 24.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
All right, here we go. Hans Gruber falling down floor number 18, 19, and 20. Okay, we'll make them fall the final 4 floors tomorrow as we wrap up for the holidays. I promised I would do this because the 570 News Radio Tree of Hope 50-50 raffle went well beyond $70,000, got up to $119,000 for you. Well, to our winner, and for Family and Children's Services. And I said I would count down Hans Gruber's fall to his death because you have a really weird sense of what makes a Christmas movie. We'll count the rest of the way down tomorrow. Josh is with us on the phone this morning. Josh, do you know the answer to our not $1 million Christmas question?
Mike, I'm thinking it might be candles.
Oh, candles. That's another very good guess. Not the answer we're looking for, but thanks for
Hey,
playing.
one more question for you.
Yeah, of course.
Is the Farwell Force recruiting at all? How would one join that?
Josh, you need to, yes, I am always recruiting because I'm desperate. And all you have to do, Josh, you have to listen for 15 minutes every day. If you do that and I take you at your word, you can be a member of the force.
I'm already there, buddy.
Buddy, how about number 254?
I'm in.
Welcome aboard. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Let's keep this force going. A force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. Josh comes in now at number 254. The answer, and I still can't believe this, to our not $1 million Christmas question, over 35% of people say this is the number one thing that gets re-gifted every year: a cozy blanket. In fairness, my cozy blanket is a quilt quilted by my great-grandmother. So there is sentimental value too. But I'm telling you, this thing gets regular uses, has for years. I would never give away a cozy blanket. You buy me a cozy blanket, I ain't re-gifting that sucker. This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio.
Where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you? Why have you gone away?
Both Jen and I agreed that this is a keeper of a Christmas tune. Where Are You, Christmas by Faith Hill. For Byron, by request on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. We're here tomorrow as well. We will keep your requests coming, Christmas related, of course. So feel free to drop me an email, mike@570news.com, or when you call in, let Jen know what Christmas song you would like to hear. We'll play as many as we can before we sign off for the holidays at the end of the show tomorrow. And tomorrow we will also have another not $1 million Christmas question. In keeping with the time of year, we are featuring for you a series of year-end conversations with political leaders. And right now we turn our attention to provincial politics. And we're pleased to be joined on the show this morning by Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles, who I guess has time for our show because, Ms. Stiles, what are you going to do with a 14-week winter break?
Yes, well, the government has decided to give itself a very big, long break after we sat only for, can you believe it, 51 days in total in 2025. But I'm going to be using that opportunity to get out on the road, as I am this week, out meeting people where they're at and, listening to them and working towards some solutions. And, I'm pretty sure that what's going to be on people's minds as they start to gather for the holidays and with their friends and their family is probably going to be talking about just how expensive everything has become. We have to have some solutions. We have to have some solutions to that. We have to come up with solutions to the massive job losses that we're seeing in the province. So these are all things that I'm going to be focusing on.
When you talk about those 51 days that you had at the legislature in calendar 2025, as the leader of the opposition, how difficult does that make your job when the government of the day has such a strong mandate? It seems to do whatever it wants to do.
Well, right. I mean, they sit for only a few weeks because they have changed all the rules so that they can ram through legislation, laws without any real hearings and significant debate. And so they just can push them through within a matter of days. And what I look at that as is it's not good for anybody. It's not good for us because we can't, fight back, push back. But more than anything is we don't pass good laws if you're not taking the time to get it right. And that means taking the time to listen to the experts, listen to people who are going to be impacted, have the conversation with the opposition and make sure we get it right the first time. And with this government, over the last 8 years, you've seen them over and over again pass laws and then have to go back and fix things afterwards. And you see it in the way that things are not getting done. 8 years on, and I can't remember how many housing bills we've had in the legislature, but we're not building housing. We have the lowest housing starts. That means nobody is building housing in the province of Ontario of any province in Canada. And we're at levels we haven't been at since post-World War II.
You mentioned that as you're out meeting people this week, the things that you expect to hear will be around affordability and jobs. Let's take them one at a time. When it comes to affordability, what would you propose we can do as a province to make life more affordable for Ontarians?
Well, look, we costs are going to keep going up. We hear that. We know that. Cost of groceries, cost of food. So what can we control? The government could bring back real rent control like we used to have so that rent doesn't keep going up. Every time I'm in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, I hear from seniors who are on the verge of losing their homes because of this. I hear from young people who cannot afford rent at all. We see the rising homelessness numbers. And for most people, it's like if it's a choice between keeping a roof over your head and food, they're going to have to choose the roof over their head. So we've got to get that under control. We have to start building really affordable housing, and that is something that other provinces, again, are doing and we're not doing. And then we've proposed some solutions around, trying to control grocery prices. I think one of the things we could do right now is start to actually support our local farmers and agriculture in a bigger way, recognizing that, they're producing a lot of the food that we need right now, and we need to make sure that we can purchase it back from them in an affordable way, and they can still keep the lights on. So there's lots of solutions there, but absolutely, without question, there are some easy things we could do right away that would help people.
On jobs, we know that hundreds of thousands of Ontarians are without a job right now. What would you propose we can do to increase employment?
Mm-hmm. Well, I call it a jobs disaster. I don't know what else you can call it when more than 700,000 Ontarians are looking for work right now. 1 in 4 young people, the highest number of young people unemployed in any province in Canada. It's outrageous. And what I don't see is the government responding with real solutions. First of all, we need to stop the jobs from leaving in the first place. So all of these big manufacturing and mills that we've seen that are shutting down or laying off thousands of people in Sault Ste. Marie and Ear Falls, Ingersoll, Brampton, they're losing 3,000 jobs at Stellantis. Like, we've got to do something fast. And in each of these cases, the government has given these companies big money, hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes even $1 billion. And they need to have strings and terms and conditions attached. And they need to be coming up with solutions to keep those frankly, keep those factory doors open and moving forward. And surely that is how we strengthen Ontario and make sure we can push back against tariffs. So we put forward some really good plans. Catherine Fife, our wonderful Waterloo MPP, was at the forefront of that, pushing for a real Buy Ontario First strategy. The government put some legislation through, but there's still big loopholes. Like, we need to be buying Ontario lumber, buying Ontario vehicles, buying Ontario steel, using it in our infrastructure projects, and we need to get building fast.
You mentioned Sault Ste. Marie, obviously, Algoma, where there were the job losses, Stellantis in the Windsor area, and both of these Ms. Stiles could be probably reasonably connected to the ongoing tariff battle with the United States. This was, I would argue, the issue that Premier Ford ran on earlier this year when we had the early election. How is he doing in working against Donald Trump?
Well, it doesn't seem to. I think when you look at the numbers and the results, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of big promises that were made in that election, and we are not seeing results. And I think the Stellantis example in Brampton is a really good example of that. But you're right. Some of these numbers are definitely linked to tariff response. Some of it is job losses that we had thought we could prevent, and then it kind of came faster because of the tariffs. But again, what I don't see is the government rolling up their sleeves. I go to these job sites and talk to the workers who are being laid off, and they say to me, look, he made us some big promises, but I don't see him anywhere. I don't see them coming up with solutions. They're looking for another employer who can, make use of this factory and keep us employed. And the spin-off impact, the ripple effect is going to be enormous. In Brampton, for example, 3,000 workers lose their jobs. The ripple effect is 30,000 jobs. I mean, this is no small thing. So I don't think that, I got to say, I'm going to give Mr. Ford an F for this year, because I don't think he's lived up to the promise. He seems to have gone into hiding, in fact, lately. And, what bothers me about that is that there were about 55% of Ontarians in the last election who just didn't vote at all, because I think they've given up hope. I think they've given up believing that their vote makes a difference, or maybe they think all politicians politicians are dirty or all politicians are the same. And so heading into this new year, my focus is, I've got to earn their trust. Bring back some hope that it doesn't have to be like this, that we don't have to just sit back and take it, that we can actually come up with solutions. And certainly, I've seen us do that before in Ontario. We've found buyers for pulp mills and paper mills in the past, but this time it seems like the government just seems to think this is the price of doing business, and I just don't get it.
How much have U.S. tariffs impacted our economy here in Ontario?
Well, I think it depends on the sector. It really does. Some sectors have already felt the hit. Others are telling me they haven't seen it much. But, if you think about just, say, a parts manufacturer who provides parts for auto or parts for some of these big steel mills and stuff, and they're saying, look, the orders are not coming in. And so I think it has impacted us. I don't think it has impacted us as deeply yet as it could have, but it's coming. It's for sure coming, and it's hitting us now. But some of this isn't just the tariffs and it's not just trade, right? Some of this is just the chill that's out there, the anticipation of it, and that's again where government has a role to play. We need to be actively using every opportunity that we have to buy Ontario steel, buy Ontario lumber, build. We see these fancy ads up all the time. The government spent, we found out now, $100 million government, people's taxpayer dollars to spend over $100 million on ads before the last election, telling everybody everything is just dandy. Don't worry about it. Gaslighting Ontarians. But the reality is that things are not great for people. People are already struggling. So I would say, let's stop allowing American companies to get contracts to renovate our hospitals like they're happening right now. Start using Ontario steel to build our infrastructure, our bridges. We cannot afford to sell out our own companies. And that's what I feel is happening. And now would be a great time to, get government actually involved in the job of, building affordable homes, building out that infrastructure. The federal government wants to help with that. Great. But we have to be in a position to be ready to take that on in Ontario.
Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles joins us for a year-end conversation. We'll take a break and come back with more, including changes that are being proposed or at least rumored around boards of trustees within education. And do you remember when Ms. Stiles got named in the provincial legislature? What about that? Anyway, we continue our year-end conversation with Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Santa looked a lot like Daddy. Our Daddy looked a lot like him. It's not the way I had him pictured. Santa was much too thin. He didn't come down the chimney, so Mama must have let him in. Santa looked a lot like Daddy. Our Daddy looked a lot like him.
Yeah, Daddy looked a lot like Santa, sings Buck Owens by request for Robert on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. Because if we're working Monday and Tuesday this week, we're working with Christmas music. We are also, if we're working this week, taking a look back at the year that was and the year ahead with some of our elected leaders today, joined by Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles. Ms. Stiles, the Education Ministry has signaled some changes might be coming to elected boards of school trustees. What do you make of this direction the Education Ministry might be moving?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of what's happening right now when it comes to education, and you see the scores, like the EQA scores, standardized test scores, and you could take it what you will. I don't think we needed a test to tell us that our kids are falling behind. I think every parent, every grandparent knows that right now, and certainly every teacher and principal that I've spoken to has made it very clear to me that kids are struggling, they're falling behind, and the reason is we do not have as many teachers and educational assistants and supports as we need in our schools, plain and simple. And the government has actually cut, despite all their talk about spending more than ever in the history of the universe. The truth is they have made a cut. Things have become more expensive. They haven't increased funding at the rate they should have, and it amounts to a $6 billion cut. So no kidding, our kids are struggling. And so all of this talk about blaming, sure, a few bad apples, absolutely, but blaming a few bad apple trustees for the whole system collapsing under the government, the conservative government's watch, that's gaslighting. That's playing politics. And what really gets me is that I think everybody listening would agree, our kids deserve better than a government that's just playing politics with their education. We need investment in education now. And again, talk about jobs and job losses. One way to help pick things up a bit would be to actually start to invest in our schools, hire more educational assistants, shrink our class sizes so our kids have a fighting chance. And we could do the same thing in healthcare. My goodness, most of the challenges we're facing are a human resource challenge. We need to hire people. We need more people in our hospitals, in our healthcare, in our schools.
The fall session at the legislature, short as it was, seemed to be dominated by the Skills Development Fund and Labor Minister David Piccini. I joked as it was the gift that keeps on giving to the opposition, and I'm sure you don't look at it that way because we're talking about taxpayer money here, but there was plenty of fodder, to say the least, for you as the leader of the opposition. On one of the days that this story continued to evolve, you were named in the legislature because you referred to Premier Ford as corrupt. Do you stand by that description of the Premier?
I do. I mean, what I said is that this government, this is an endless grift, and yes, it is corrupt. It is, and I think that when if you look at the facts of what's happening in the Skills Development Fund and the examples that the Auditor General, even that she alone had raised, of preferential treatment for companies that were connected to the Conservatives, the Minister of Labor getting, obviously getting rinkside tickets with the CEO of a company that, was bumped up the list, would never have qualified, and then suddenly miraculously qualifies for millions of dollars, and going to attend a wedding in Paris for the lobbyist for that same company. I mean, something is really wrong here. And so I think, when they refuse to change that and they dig in and they say there's nothing wrong with the way we're doing this, I say that's corrupt. And you can't say that in the chamber. So that one day I just said, no, I won't take it back. I think it's true. But the truth is I can't do that every day or I'd never get to vote. So, and people would elect me to vote too. So I'll keep calling it out though for what I think it is. And I will keep pushing the government to be accountable and transparent to the people of Ontario. I mean, Doug Ford was elected. I remember, right, back in 2018, elected to end the gravy train. He kept saying, well, you know what? The gravy train has, he's the one who's driving that train right now. He's the conductor. And we need better. People in Ontario deserve better than this.
When you reflect, Ms. Stiles, on the year that was for the Ontario NDP, what wins, if I can use that terminology, do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, we fought back in a really big way with people, Ontarians, against some of the more egregious legislation they tried to rush through in the last 7 weeks. And a good example of that is the things we've just talked about. Bill 33 that really attacks schools, education, local democracy. And also, and universities too, Bill 60, which I think opens the door for a lot more people to get evicted from their homes. And what I think was successful was we didn't get to defeat those bills, but we organized a lot, and a lot of people came to us. Thousands of people came and said, how do we fight back? What can we do to make sure our voices are heard while they rush this through? And we saw thousands of people come out to events that we were holding online. 100,000 Ontarians sent emails to MPPs in every single riding in the province. Like, to me, that kind of movement, that building, that organizing is a success. It's what we keep building on if we're going to be able to bring people's voice into the legislature, make sure they are heard. and hold the government to account, and then eventually to be able to organize to defeat the government in the next election. So I consider that a win, if you can call it that. And I think also just keeping very focused on the issues that are on people's minds. There's 1,000 things we could all be talking about, but when you look at what's on people's minds, the sky-high cost of everything, the state of housing, the state of healthcare. There's so many issues, but I think where people are at right now, affordability, the fear and anxiety about the future of our jobs are front and center, and I tried really hard to keep that front and center in the legislature this year, and I think we've been quite successful in setting that tone.
Ms. Stiles, I appreciate the time you've made for us on the show to speak to the audience today, especially at this time of year. The very best of the holidays to you and yours, and thank you again for being here.
And to you. It's been great speaking with you. Happy holidays.
Marit Stiles is the leader of the Ontario NDP, joining us for a year-end conversation. Last week I had from you my year-end review, opened up the phone lines for your feedback. It was all overwhelmingly positive, and I was thrilled for that, to be honest. But also, you mentioned repeatedly how much you liked our regular Monday morning segment, This Week in Music History. Well, it's coming up for you with a Christmas twist. Stay with us on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. That is a little bit of Donna Summer's Winter Melody by Request for Maria on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. Because if we're working in the days leading up to the big day, it's 3 days until Christmas, for crying out loud. You better believe we're going to play some holiday, Christmas, winter-themed music for you on the show. And so we do. And this week's edition of This Week in Music History is no different. Brian Allison, our good friend and musicologist, joins us every Monday morning at 11 for a look back at This Week in Music History. I always like to remind you that Brian has a Facebook page of the same name, This Week in Music History. And this week, on This Week in Music History, Brian has done a deep dive into Christmas music. Good morning, sir. Thanks for coming in studio.
Oh, it's great to be here. This is lovely.
Great to have you here. You're all decked out for the holidays, the red shirt and the Santa hat with a kiss pin right on the front.
Is that sacrilege? Am I going to hell for something like that?
Not a chance. No. When it comes to music, everything is on limits.
Good.
Yeah, there's no off limits here. I don't know if you got to hear it. I should have sent you an email, but I was so far behind in my emails I forgot. So I will just tell you right now, here in this moment, live. I opened up the phone lines last week for a Roast the Host hour. I asked listeners for feedback, give me the constructive criticism, make it my year-end review. Shockingly, truly, it was overwhelmingly positive. Nobody had really critical things to say, which made me feel good.
I'm not surprised a bit.
I sometimes when you do that, you get the very worst of the critics coming out. Nonetheless, it's great to know that we're headed into 2026 with a show that people are happy with. But I bring this up, Brian, because overwhelmingly, the feature that we have on this show that more than any other feature got mentioned was this one right here. The Farwell Force loves what you're doing every Monday morning.
That's great. Well, I love doing it. It's something that I enjoy doing, so I'm glad people appreciate it.
Yep, they certainly do. I know I do. And Brian and I, just so you know, have already been in conversation. This is continuing into 2026. We're going to give Brian next week off, okay? There will be no This Week in Music History on the 29th, but we'll come back on January the 5th and continue this through next year. So let's dive in and start with, because you've done so much great work on this, the best-selling Christmas songs of all time. You've got a top 10 here.
There's a top 10, yeah. What would you have to wager without looking at your cheat sheet would be the the biggest one.
Well, I already wagered and I was wrong. I guess I would have thought Mariah Carey was number one.
She's right up there for sure. Yeah, still, going back to 1942, we still have Bing Crosby with White Christmas. It has sold more than 50 million copies worldwide as a single. When you add album sales to that, it's almost double that. So incredible amount of records and a lot of mileage for that song for Bing Crosby. And he gets the number 2 spot with his version of Silent Night as well, which has sold 30 million copies. Then at 3, we slide into Mariah Carey. Obviously, All I Want for Christmas Is You, huge song that came out in 1994.
And it gets played 1,994 times every year at least.
Probably the one of all of them that I'm the most tired of because I think it's only been since 94 and it's just played constantly. I mean, but it's a great song. You got to appreciate it. Then rounding up the top 10, you've got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's the Gene Autry version from 1949. So we're going way back. 12 million copies sold. Then something a little more of our generation, you and I, Do They Know It's Christmas? Of course, the Band-Aid piece. It's great to see it coming in at 12 million copies. Every cent went to charity, which is a fantastic thing for sure. Then you got the Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late, 1958, 10 million copies sold. I guess a fan favorite for many.
It would be a novelty song, kind of like Grandma Got Run Over by the Reindeer,
little
right?
Bit, yeah, a little bit for sure. Mary's Boy Child, Oh My Lord, Boney M from 1978 has sold 8 million copies. Pretty big song for them, obviously. And then again, you've got going back to the 50s, Jingle Bell Rock, the Bobby Helms version, which is kind of the classic version for sure. 6 million copies. Again, our generation, Last Christmas by Wham, 1984, which has sold 4 million copies. And then you've got the classic Jose Feliciano, Feliz Navidad, which is a one that I also enjoy. My Birth Year, 1970, 3 million copies. So pretty cool. Some pretty good songs there. Also ran, one of my personal favorites, you've got Bob and Doug McKenzie's 12 Days of Christmas. A fan favorite, especially here in Canada. It's never charted, so there's no sales figures for it. They never released it as a single, which I always thought was a bit odd.
Next year, I'm buying you a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Want a dozen donuts. Well, you get an extra donut. Go to one of those places, give you 13 donuts.
It just never gets tired.
It really does not. Can you explain to me the Boney M phenomenon? I'm not a fan, Brian. I don't know what it is, but inevitably, when we do all request Christmas music, Boney M shows up.
Yeah.
I've just never been a big fan.
Boney M falls in under the same category as Milli Vanilli. It's the same producer. Many people believe, and a lot of stuff has come out about them, the people that you see, performing aren't actually the people that sang on those original recordings. He used professional vocalists and then picked people that looked the part. I think many of them eventually learned to sing, very much like Milli Vanilli. But yeah, it's kind of a love-hate thing for me. I do like the Christmas song just because it's so traditional now. It's sort of the sound of my childhood because it was happening in the 70s. But yeah, it's to each his own.
Yeah, I suppose. And that's the beauty of music and a segment like this where we can remember things that we do like or we like a little bit less. And for me, Boney M is one of those things or bands that I like a little bit less.
I remember my parents liking it in the 70s, which I always thought was a little peculiar because they didn't really like any popular music. But Boney M and ABBA, they thought that was great music. So there was some of that around. So at least there was some modern music when I was growing up.
My beloved enjoys Boney M as well. So full power to her for sure. Absolutely. I've got a buddy who has a birthday on the 25th of December, which I just think is one of the... I feel bad for anybody.
What a ripoff.
It kind of is, isn't it? But not just my buddy. A number of people that we know very well from music celebrate a birthday on the 25th of December.
Yeah, he's in good company for sure. So, you've got Jimmy Buffett. I mean, 1946, he's born Christmas Day. You've got country great Barbara Mandrell, 1948. Then you've got Annie Lennox from the Eurythmics, born in 1954 on Christmas Day. Shane MacGowan from the Pogues, 1957. Of course, they did that great Christmas song as well, which is cool. Then you got Canada's own Alana Miles. You remember Alana Miles from the 90s?
Absolutely.
Big
Black
star.
Velvet, yep.
Born Christmas Day, 1958. And then Dido, who of course is a vocalist from the UK, born same as you, birth year 1971. So yeah, a lot of your friends in good company.
One of my favorite lines about Dido ever comes from a fellow radio host. And I shouldn't even call him that because I am nowhere near this man's league. I'll even give the credit where it's due. Roger Ashby, one of the
Oh, yeah.
greatest, from Chum FM back in the
Terrific.
day.
Loved
him, absolutely. Still do. But he always said, Dido, the L is silent. I mean, only Roger Ashby could get away with that.
That's a little cruel, a little harsh.
A little harsh, exactly. Along with those births on Christmas Day, we also have some dearly departed from the 25th of December.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the one that I remember the most, of course, is George Michael, which just happened, well, it's almost 10 years ago now, 2016. He passed away very suddenly on Christmas Day at age 53, so that was a huge loss. Eartha Kitt, I don't know if you remember Eartha Kitt from the 70s, and before that, she died in 2008 at 81. The great James Brown, I know we've had some great James Brown stories over the years on the show. 2006, he died on Christmas Day at 73. And then probably the one that's sort of, poetic almost, is that Dean Martin died in 1995 at 78 on Christmas Day. And of course, he had always a Christmas special, especially in the 70s. We would always watch the Dean Martin Christmas special, and he was sort of famous for his take on some Christmas songs. So, yeah, sad. He died on Christmas Day.
It's classic stuff, for sure. And you say, I don't know if you remember Eartha Kitt. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not, what I remember Eartha Kitt for more is her portrayal of Catwoman on the old Batman TV series.
Yeah,
right?
she was. I think she was Catwoman. Was she after Julie Newmar?
Yes, that's right. I forgot Julie Newmar too.
Oh,
Yes,
God. Yeah, so
that's right.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah,
there you go. There you go.
She was briefly the Catwoman. Yeah, I think that's correct.
That old show, as campy gets, but I loved it. Couldn't get enough of it.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I still love watching it. It's fantastic.
Brian Allison joins us every Monday morning at 11 a.m. for a look back at this week in music history. And yes, we will continue into 2026. But as we continue this morning and in the spirit of the season, we'll take a deeper dive into some of those Christmas hits that you know really well. And believe it or not, there are some rock and roll legends who are a little bit grinchy when it comes to the big day. We'll talk more about it as we continue this week in music history on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio. Christmas Time is here by the Vince Guaraldi Trio. That is by request from Pete, Farwell's Force member number 11 on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. And I'm in studio with Brian Allison, our good friend and resident musicologist, who joins us every Monday at 11 for This Week in Music History. And Brian just said, as he heard that song, boy, that takes me back, as it does I. And I'm trying my very best. It's the time of the year that I should be less grumpy and more happy, but I got to be me. So let me tell you, okay? Last night, I get home from the U16 AAA Rangers beating the WRPS Blue Crew in a charity hockey game for One Roof Youth Services. Great night. I'm filled with the Christmas spirit. I turn on the Leafs game. I watch them get scored against. Now they're down 2-0 to Dallas in the third period. I said, this game's over. So I went to find something Christmassy to watch because I was in the mood. And ding dang, Apple TV has all the good stuff.
Yeah.
They got all of the Charlie Brown things were locked up unless I want to pay for Apple, which I refuse to do. So a pox on your house this Christmas, Apple. There.
No, it should be. It's got to be on TV at some point.
It probably will. But last night, you see, I'm one of those millennials now. I want it on demand.
Right.
All right. You and I were talking earlier about the best-selling Christmas songs of all time. You presented the top 10 list, and at number 1 was Bing Crosby's White Christmas. What else might we learn about that song from 1954?
Well, it was in 1954 that it entered the Billboard charts for the 11th time. Wow. So think about that. It's 1954, and it's already coming up 11 seasons in a row. So his rendition, as I said, the single has sold 50 million copies. But when you count album sales with that, it's over 100 million copies worldwide since it came out, which is just mind-boggling. And it was the largest selling single in music history until it was surpassed by another song. Any guesses what it might be? You've seen the cheat sheet, so I
have seen the cheat sheet, and I don't think I would have guessed, but as soon as I read it, I'm like, of course, I remember this so vividly.
Yeah, so Elton John's "Candle in the Wind," 1997, his tribute to Lady Diana, of course, is the best-selling single of all time and took over for "White Christmas," which nobody thought would ever happen because everybody's like, well, it's a Christmas song, of course it's going to be number one because it comes up every year, but Elton John surpassed him, so that's pretty awesome.
I remember that so vividly because I was very early in my radio career. And, of course, you get the Princess Diana death, and I'm at the radio station. And, again, I'm dating myself, but the teletype is going bananas with all kinds of information coming in. And then I was on the music side then, working as a music announcer, and Elton John's song just blew the ever-loving heck up. So there you go.
It was massive.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, this week, 1982, David Bowie and Bing Crosby together.
Probably one of the most unlikely duets in the history of music. So David and Bing Crosby went to number 3 in the UK with the song Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy. It became one of Bowie's best-selling singles, which to me is just like, really? He had so many great songs and that was one of the best-selling, but it was. Total estimated sales of 400,000 in the UK alone. The original song was written in 1941 by Larry Grossman and Alan Koak, who were also very famous songwriters. Some trivia about it. Bowie did not like the Little Drummer Boy. He didn't want to sing that segment. Just wasn't his thing. He said it didn't match his style. So the songwriters went back, and in 1 hour, they wrote that middle piece, that Peace on Earth part that Bowie sings in tandem with Bing Crosby. And it became this great hit. The other part was that Bowie didn't really want to do the TV special where they premiered this. He wasn't really big on Bing Crosby, but his mom was. And his mom said, you have to do this because I love Bing so much. And David said, all right, I'll do the special for you, Mom. So nice guy.
Nice guy. So David Bowie came around, but what rock stars do we know, Brian, that were a little bit less, let's call it, Santa-y and a little bit more Grinchy when it comes to Christmas?
There's some rock star Grinches out there for sure, and they weren't hard to find. So God bless his soul. I know we just lost him this year, but Ozzy Osbourne did not like Christmas. He went on the record to say that he hated it. He called it, quote unquote, pardon my French, an effing waste of time. And my favorite quote that I found about Ozzy on Christmas, he said, when I used to drink, it was a great excuse for me to get drunk for 2 weeks. Now I just hate it.
That's why, because he got sober, you see?
That's right.
Yeah.
So poor Ozzy. So there's a few others, though. This one might not surprise people. Marilyn Manson has stated publicly that he hates Christmas. He has never put up a Christmas tree or Christmas decorations in his home in his life. Not really surprising to me. Noel Gallagher from Oasis hates Christmas.
Probably because Liam likes it.
Probably. Hates Christmas decorations. His wife says he can't wait until the Christmas decorations get boxed up again. Not a fan. This kind of surprised me a little bit. Rod Stewart does not like Christmas. Not his favorite time of year, and his wife was the same thing. She said he can't wait for it to be over. He can't wait for the box of decorations to go back down in the basement, and yeah, he's not a big fan. And then the other one, Miley Cyrus has come out publicly and says that she hates Christmas. She hates the holiday season. Not her favorite time of year at all.
Do you think it's because her dad just played Achy Breaky Heart on repeat when she was younger?
Maybe the Billy Ray vibe over Christmas just didn't help her develop a love for it. I'm not sure. But yeah, so there you go. There's some Grinchy rock stars out there.
Marilyn Manson, Miley Cyrus, Noel Gallagher, Rod Stewart, and the late, great Ozzy.
Take them off your Christmas card list, Mike.
Did not like Christmas. Okay, you've got some trivia put together about some of our favorite Christmas songs. I love these little bits of trivia for us to take into our Christmas season.
All right, well, let's do some then. So, do we know what the very first Christmas song that mentioned Santa Claus was?
Here Comes Santa Claus?
It was actually before that. It was 1864.
Holy Hannah.
And it was Up on the Rooftop, written by Benjamin Handy, mentioned St. Nick.
Really?
First time that Santa Claus made a reference in a Christmas song.
Okay, I remember that one, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, and then one of our favorite Christmas songs was actually about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving?
True. I didn't know this. This is something I learned in my research, too. So Jingle Bells was written in 1857. Again, it's a really old song. It was originally titled One Horse Open Sleigh, not Jingle Bells. And it was written as a tribute to Thanksgiving in the U.S., not for Christmas. But it got picked up by radio stations or, play back then. And people loved the Jingle Bell part of it, and it turned into Jingle Bells, and now it's a staple, of course.
Interesting. And then it spawns, I'm assuming, Jingle Bell Rock, doesn't it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if that was sort of an inspiration for it, but probably makes sense that it would be.
Absolutely. Okay, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. Wait, there are more.
Yeah.
So 5 songs have something in common. Rudolph, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, Holly Jolly Christmas, White Christmas, and Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, all songs which are staples to the Christmas season, all written by songwriters who generally don't celebrate Christmas. These are written by songwriters who are Jewish.
There you go.
So there you go. They're giving us some great Christmas music, which is awesome.
All right, one more before I let you go and we wrap up. You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Everybody loves the song. What's the trivia we should know about it?
So the guy who sang You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, he's sung by the late, his name is Thurl Ravenscroft, and he had this deep bass voice. He did lots of voiced overs in his day, all kinds of things, and he did that famous song for the original animated Grinch movie, which I think is still the best one. Jim Carrey is great and everything, but the original still rules. He also did the voice of a certain animated television commercial character, which many people, especially you and I, from our generation, will remember. Any guesses who that might be?
I'm trying to think of the deep-voiced cartoon commercial. No.
There you go. You just deep voice cartoon commercial. I can't even think of another one. It's Tony the Tiger.
Of course, yes.
Frosted Flakes.
You're great.
Yep, there you go. So that was Thurl Ravenscroft, who also sang You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. I just heard it on the radio the other day. I think that's the first time I've ever heard it on the radio, but somebody played it.
It's fantastic.
And I was like, great, good song. I love it.
I hope it was our friends at Chime 96.7
It
playing
could have
all
very well
Christmas,
been.
all the time.
It might have very well been.
This is lots of fun. The audience loves it. Can't wait to pick up again on January the 5th.
We're picking up in the new year on the 1-year anniversary, which is great. So I'll be happy to come back and see you.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Thanks for this, Brian.
Happy holidays, my friend.
You as well, sir.
All right.
Brian Allison is a musicologist. Joins us every Monday morning at 11 for This Week in Music History. Don't forget the Facebook page of the same name, This Week in Music History. And you can hear it here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? I haven't seen hide nor shaggy head of that boy in 4 years. But you'd know him if you met him. Played harmonica like the cat lost his balls. Yep, Crazy Dave. Had a toothy smile as big as my hand. Always chewed on a toothpick or a long blade of grass, drank from the bottle, rolled the worst cigarettes, was impervious to insect bites. It's one of the best damn tree-planting highballers east of Prince George.
That is our good friend, David Drewe. Not performed on his behalf or even written on his behalf, but it seems so fitting. And I was this many days old when I learned how David Drewe first came in contact with that performance by Scott Wicken, who is the artist that does Crazy Dave for us. In a moment, I'll get to that as I welcome David Drewe, the owner of Negotiating Change, Government Relations, and Stakeholder Engagement Strategies, into the studio. David was also a former Conservative Party staffer working alongside Harold Albrecht when he was the MP for Kitchener-Conestoga. Just as you were coming in, David.
I have to give you a gripe first.
Okay.
You were left a Santa hat, and you were told it was so you could keep wearing it. And I don't think you made it to the next segment before you lost that hat.
Well, first of all,
Grinchy Mike.
No, I love Christmas.
Mike, you're Grinchy.
No, listen, if we were on...
You can pretend you're not bald if you wear the hat.
It was a little warm, I'm not going to lie. And since we're not on Rogers TV, I thought it would be less off-putting to you because there's no TV audience. You can pretend I'm still wearing the Santa hat, and then it's not off-putting for David.
Okay.
I'm going to put it back on at the commercial break. In fact, as soon as you start your first segment, I'll put it back on. But you said, because as you were coming in, Brian Allison was heading out, you two had a quick exchange, and you said you walked... So a man walks into a bar, That man in this case was David Drewe, and you heard Scott Wicken performing Crazy Dave.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it was like he was doing it on stage as I walked in, but it was moments after I walked in. The music had already started. He's a musician as well as a spoken word artist, and kaboom, Crazy Dave.
And here we are all this time later, and I just learned that's how you first came in contact with Crazy Dave. Okay, let's talk about... I'm looking forward to this because your notes say the NDP's post-mortem. Can we just, let's just move on from the federal NDP, shall we?
Well, no, we can't, because honestly, we could have the election today, and I'm positive they'd have party status again. They're more dead than they appear to be right now.
How are they going to have party status
They're not
again?
as dead as they appear to be right now.
We have an election today, and actually, you know what? Now that I think about it for half a second, you're right. Of course they'll get party status back.
Yeah. Like, it's just the last election, we've got to remember, Mark Carney did really, really well off the last of the NDP vote. Pierre Poilievre drove them down into the teens first. And then when the decision time came, the rest of their support pretty much bled to the Liberals to prevent Pierre Poilievre from winning.
Exactly.
If they don't see that Pierre Poilievre's necessarily winning this time, they're not as motivated to stop him from, it's and then you have the whole, well, what about the environmental voters from the NDP? Like, what about the people who hate Danielle Smith from the NDP? Like, there's just so many of these choices that Mark Carney has made. And, like I say, he's a conservative. Other people said progressive. I heard Corey tonight on the weekend. This is the third or the fourth term of the Stephen Harper government. And this is what I have been saying to you.
It's true.
This is what I've been saying to you. But no, apparently the NDP just were unable to counter the frame that it was a Trump-Carney-Poilievre race. It's like, how much did they spend on this?
To learn that they were unable to reframe the election?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and...
Because we all knew that already.
Well, I'm surprised it's not even more harsh. Because honestly, if your leader is going out and saying, we did not force the election at a time where we could have doubled our seat count because it was more important to stop Pierre Poilievre, and then during the campaign itself is saying the number one priority in this election is making sure Pierre Poilievre doesn't become prime minister, you were giving permission to your voters to guilt-free vote for a Liberal. I don't picture any other NDP leader being that. That's stupid. I've got to come out and say it. Like, that was strategically and tactically, what was he thinking? Are you going out and trying to lose? Because that is the strategy you employ if you want to lose. You know what? The most important thing in election is that you vote against us to stop the other guy. So...
He, in this case,
is Jagmeet Singh.
Right. It's worth pointing out is Jagmeet Singh, whose image popped up on our television not too long ago in a recap of something. And my beloved said, oh, yeah, I forgot about him. It hasn't even been a year.
Well, the good thing I will say for the NDP is when they elected Jagmeet Singh, it was pretty tangible in everything they were saying and doing and reacting to it as, we out-liberaled the Liberals. They had someone young and chic. We have someone young and chic and multicultural. He's rich. Our guy is rich and self-made. Like, just this time, it doesn't look like you're going to try to out-liberal the Liberals. They are going to elect a leader that they are going to hopefully reflect them, as opposed to trying to triangulate their leader for marketing purposes. They need a soul right now.
Are you happy that I have my Santa hat back on?
I am joyed.
Okay. I'm glad that you are joyed. Tell me the latest about the traitor Michael Maw. I have to. I'm sorry. I cannot stand floor crossers.
Okay, and the funny thing is, I
know.
But once again, I am this guy who's sitting here quibbling about the details. I have no problem with the floor crossing. I did say how this one was done was a little distasteful to me, though. When I say a little, I'm putting the air quotes around that. But he was all out explaining this last week. And I'm sorry, he should have just stayed home. There was no need for him to go out and do a media circuit saying, well, I didn't know I was going to cross the floor until I actually met with the Prime Minister the day I crossed the floor. And it's like, so you met with the Prime Minister. I don't think you just ran into him in a parliamentary hallway and all of a sudden, had this conversation spontaneously and you decided, hey, I'm going to become a Liberal. You had a meeting scheduled with the Prime Minister. So, I don't know. This is kind of like, I'm trying to think of the example, but the night before the wedding, changing your mind. Like, he did everything right up and I'm just like, to get to the point where you were sitting down and meeting with the Prime Minister, it's not really a defense to say, but I wasn't doing that till the next day. So it was all honest and good for me to be at the party the night before in good faith.
The Conservative Party.
Yeah, the Michael Moss. So that's just it. The idea that, you went to the party not knowing you were going to cross the floor. It's like, I didn't know until I actually met with the Prime Minister.
He just wanted free booze. Every traitor wants free booze.
Last chance to get a picture with the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre? I don't know. Well, no, but that's just it. Like, if he'd have just stayed home, we wouldn't be talking about him at all this week. But he had to come out and he tried to justify it by saying, well, I wasn't meeting with the Prime Minister till the next day and I didn't know until I met with him. And yeah, but I can't think of what the analogy would be in a relationship to try and use that as an excuse.
But you know as well as anyone else, David, that just talking about him is all that matters, right? Good, bad, or otherwise, as a local and long-time municipal election official once said to me, just spell my name right. He didn't care as long as his name was in the news. So Michael Ma is happy as a pig in mud right now.
I'm not sure about that. Not sure about that. I remember, the late Andrew Talkback, when during Peter Braid's first campaign, Andrew misspoke at a debate and said that he agreed with Elizabeth May that the number one priority was to elect Stephen Harper as Prime Minister. And the Conservatives filmed it. Full disclosure, it was me. And it went viral a little bit. But it kept getting more and more viral because Andrew Talkback kept responding to it and could not ignore a media inquiry on it. And every time he took bigger media on it, the video went more and more viral to the point that he was on the TV with Mike Duffy talking about this nationally.
Mike Duffy, before he was a disgraced senator.
Yes.
God.
But you know what I mean? Like the fact that he could not let this go. Yeah, his name was spelled right every time, and Talkback's a lot harder to spell than Ma. But no, I'm positive that was a very, very tight election, as you recall.
It was.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that the name recognition helped Andrew Talkback at all. And Michael Ma, the question is, well, just how traitorous and scuzzy was he? Yeah, spell the name right.
Okay. David Drewe joins us every Monday morning, 11:30 for Drewe's Views. It is that time of year. So David's got some gifts to give out, or at least perhaps some wish lists for politicians. What do they need from Santa? And what did happen to that war on Christmas? What war on Christmas, I ask? We'll continue with David Drewe and Drewe's Views on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Come out in the First World War. The bloody Red Baron was flying once more. The Allied command ignored all of its men and called on Snoopy to do it again. It was the night before Christmas, 40 below, when Snoopy went up in search of his foe. Despite the Red Baron, fiercely they fought. With ice on his wings, Snoopy knew he was caught.
Oh, Snoopy's Christmas versus the Red Baron. Those are the Royal Guardsmen by request from Chris on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. David Drewe in studio with us this morning. David is the owner of Negotiating Change, Government Relations, Stakeholder Engagement Strategies. Joins us every Monday morning, 11:30, to share his views. What war on Christmas do you think you missed this year, sir?
Are you skipping principles on purpose?
Oh my gosh, I totally skipped principles. No, I would never. I'm a man of principle, David. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I,
I was worried that
it.
might have been a bit of a Freudian miss.
No, it was not a Freudian. Well, maybe it was, but I believe myself to be a man of principle. What are we going to need to sacrifice to get through the Trump crisis besides our principles, apparently?
Well, we've always known we were going to need to sacrifice. Like, this is going to be painful in some ways, but we're apparently starting with our principles. And no, like, in defense of starting with sacrificing our principles. If we want to decrease the proportion of trade we are doing with the U.S., we have to find other trading partners. And if we start saying that we're going to lift up our noses at all the odious possibilities, it's going to be, well, I still think it's kind of impossible, but it's going to be even more impossible. It's going to be laughable to even think about. So, yeah, China, they just arbitrarily imprisoned a couple Canadians for a few years there, but we're putting that in the rearview mirror. And Mark Carney's about to go visit. Oh, yeah, India, that country that apparently assassinated one of our citizens in British Columbia. Yeah, we're moving past that pretty quickly, too, because those are the two biggest growing economies in the world. And to try and say we're going to de-emphasize the U.S. without that? Good luck. Oh, and then just today I'm reading Canada, the cabinet is now going to allow Canadian businesses to start making single-use plastics again. But don't worry, Mike. It's not about our environment. It's only for export to the U.S. So we're going to put all this plastic in the U.S. They're going to pollute all to heck, and we're going to profit from it. And that's our solution to the trade war.
See, I love where you've gone with this about China and India becoming trading partners. Politics does make for strange bedfellows, after all. But that last point is where I thought your first point was going to go when it comes to sacrificing or just completely ignoring our principles. I thought it would be on us as being climate warriors here in Canada. And oh yeah, by the way, the oil fields are back in play in a very big way.
Well, put it this way, I don't feel hypocritical about the oil fields being in play, but I do feel hypocritical about China and India.
Fair.
But see, I think that's just it. I am not judging. I am feeling hypocritical. I'm owning it.
Okay. The war on Christmas that you think you missed.
I didn't hear anything about the war on Christmas this year.
When was there a war on Christmas?
Pretty much every Christmas I've been hearing for years now. It's been about like, oh, I'm not allowed to do this, or there's a school conflict, or a this or a that. And I'm just like, we didn't have any debate about Christmas this year.
I heard just a couple of whispers of, oh, I can't even say Merry Christmas anymore. I just think we've given up. And we've really, can we just say we've come back to the right place in all of this? My goodness gracious.
You know what my favorite response to someone who says they can't say Merry Christmas is?
What's that?
I say Merry Christmas.
That's good. I always say the same thing in a different way. I'm like, yes, you can. Nobody is stopping.
I don't know what's
ever.
wrong with you, but I can. Like, it's a you thing. It's not a Christmas thing. It's a you thing.
That's a really interesting point, though. Even when it extends into our schools, et cetera, there wasn't any controversy at any local organization or business or any such nonsense. Last I checked, they put up a tree at Queen's Park, didn't they? A Christmas tree? Because had there not been a year where there was no Christmas tree at Queen's Park, I thought maybe.
Honestly, it's so hard to get in and out of Toronto that I don't even think about stuff like Christmas trees are.
All right, let's move on to what some of our politicians may be asking Santa for this year.
Well, I think Pierre Poilievre, I'm not saying this is what they're asking for. I'm saying this is what they need.
Okay, Santa, listen up.
This is the gift from your dad, not the gift from Santa Claus. You know what I mean? This is the tool set, right, or the underwear. Anyway, Pierre Poilievre, gauze.
Gauze to close the hemorrhaging
to
wound.
Stop the bleeding. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Some gauze for Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, for Steve McKinnon, government leader in the House and transport minister, I think. Anyway, I wish him a clean slate, because if he did not have the entire background he did, he might not come across as so inside baseball. Apparently, he is a very, very valuable player on the team, but he's Steve McKinnon, and the way he talks exudes the liberal vulnerability of arrogance. So I'm wishing him a makeover. Queer eye for the political guy, something like that. Let's see, who else do you want to know about? Oh, Donald Trump.
Oh, you're going to give, okay, what would Santa bring Donald Trump?
A year's supply of bronzer. Because he goes through that stuff like there's no tomorrow. Ooh, for J.D. Vance, a heart attack for Donald Trump.
So he could have the keys to the castle all by himself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. What about Mark Carney? What does the Prime Minister need for Christmas?
One more MP.
Oh, gee.
One more
Well,
MP. I can't believe you had to ask that.
You're right. Just go find another traitor. They're out there everywhere, apparently, these days.
I'm looking forward to staying for calls.
Yes, you are going to stick around.
I am going to stay for calls.
Okay. Okay.
How much time do we have?
2 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
I thought we were much shorter for time.
You have ample time. Do you want to give more gifts, or do you want to talk more about Donald Trump's bronzing? I said it that way on purpose because I knew it would get you. I see that because it started to sound like a Saturday Night Live skit here.
Yeah.
Why can't we give Donald Trump what I always get them mixed up? Who needed the brain? The lion was a coward. The Tin Man needed a heart. So the Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow. If
There
he
you
only
go.
had a brain.
Right.
With the thoughts that I'd be thinking, I could be another Lincoln.
There you go. If I only had a... Because doesn't Donald Trump... Like, he's not very... His faculties are not with him, are they?
No, I believe he is quite intelligent, but I believe he has some personality disorders. I'm not saying he's crazy. There's a lot of people with disorders who aren't crazy. But yeah, I think there are some moral gears in his head that slip. Doug Ford says cheese slipped off the cracker. I don't know. I think this cheese was left out in the sun.
All right. How about that? How about Doug Ford? What could the man with the huge mandate and the 14-week winter break even need? He's got no opposition in Ontario. No disrespect to our guest earlier today, Marit Stiles and Mike Schreiner. We love you, but come on with your coming on. And the Liberals are still a minivan party. Like, what could Doug Ford possibly need?
Oh, you're almost gonna, people are going to think we prepared this. But, the Liberals are the minivan party. But for Doug Ford, it's like obviously going to be something to do with his truck. He does everything with his truck.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, I don't know what he already has, though, but I'm thinking a good tow kit come along. So, because, sooner or later there's going to be a blizzard. He's going to be going through a crisis, and he's going to drive around to be pulling Ontarians out of the snow.
Absolutely.
So something made in Canada, Reese trailer hitches maybe.
Right.
Something along those lines so he can do stuff in his truck more.
Okay. More stuff for Doug Ford to be able to do in his truck. One more MP for Mark Carney, which is going to be really easy. All Santa has to do is drop the Liberal platform into somebody's stocking, and they'll cross the floor immediately. And some gauze for Pierre Poilievre, so he can stop the bleeding. I love it all around, and we'll leave Donald Trump out of it for now, because if we mention his name too many times, David, don't you know, we get accused of having Trump derangement syndrome around here.
I was worried that you were going to say if we said it 3 times, he'd show up like Beetlejuice.
Trump. Not yet. But there goes derangement syndrome. An update from the 570 News Center is coming your way. And then you heard the man. David Drewe is going to stick around and join us for some phone calls during Talkback coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. Phone lines are open to you on 570 News Radio. Hang on a second here. Is this We're Not Gonna Take It? Or is this Oh Come All Ye Faithful? Greg wanted to hear a little bit of Twisted Sister for his holiday. It's an all request Monday Christmas songs edition. Do you remember Dee Snider's rebirth as a talk show, or was he just a music radio host? Either way, he was a radio host after he was done with Twisted Sister.
What I remember, by the way, Greg's my people. Thank you for that request, Greg. What I remember most about Dee Snider was it was the 80s, and his hair was insured for $1 million.
It was not.
It was.
Wow. I remember starting to listen to Twisted Sister, and my father was not at all impressed. He thought I was into the devil's music, David.
My mother really didn't appreciate that album cover, and my dad just giggled at the whole thing because he just thought it like silly, like dressing like women. You're enjoying this? Like, look at that guy.
I loved me some Twisted Sister back in the day. David Drewe said, you know what? I'm going to stick around for a bit, take some calls during Talkback today. 'Tis the season. If you want to celebrate that, by all means, let's do it. And if you want to talk about going home again, I got into this at the beginning of the show today, but I didn't have enough time, I didn't think, to give it full treatment. I'm dying to go knock on the door of my childhood home. And this is the time of year where I get even more interested in doing that. But have you ever done it, David?
I have not, but it's kind of funny because I was looking at a map of Coppercliff this morning, and there's going to be a local tangent coming in here in a second. But I got to see the map of Coppercliff, and it was because the city had added a new street to its sidewalk snowplow routes. So I was just looking at, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. When I was growing up, they did plow our sidewalks for us, and
in
they
Sudbury.
still do
In Sudbury. Yes.
So yeah.
All right. I might do that this holiday season. We'll see. Let's get to the phones and begin hearing from you on Talkback. Dave, Farwell's Force, member number 47. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. I have a rave, but it's a qualified rave. I am an NFL supporter, fan, whatever, but I do not. I'm not a fan of any particular team. So yesterday I was watching a game, the early game, and it was okay. And then after the game was over, I decided to stay on the channel rather than surf and watch the second game between 2 8 and 6 teams. And Mike, that was a real entertaining game. And not only was it a very entertaining game, but the quarterback of that team played an excellent game, and to my knowledge, he has been pretty good the last couple games. And you have any idea which team that was, Mike?
As a matter of fact, Dave, I do. You're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers-Detroit Lions game that was won by the Pittsburgh Steelers, my favorite NFL team.
Oh, it still is? Okay, because I was under the impression you had put a thumbs down on that team because of the quarterback.
I have. But I'm still a fan. I just don't invest any of my time in them at all.
Yeah, but he's been playing pretty good, Mike.
That's fair. Dave, let me tell you something, okay?
All right.
The NFL this year is about as real as WWE. It's all fixed, my friend.
Okay. Have a great day and Merry Christmas to your guest, Dave. I like him too.
Why, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Did you watch any NFL yesterday, Dave?
No, but when you talk about it being as fixed as the WWE, I used to really believe, and I still kind of do, that professional wrestling would be a great Olympic sport. And I mean it like in the same sense as figure skating. It's rehearsed. It's about the performance. And it's fixed. Who's going to win?
How about the guy that, which one was it? Because I don't follow the wrestling at all. I think it was Mick Foley. But he quit because of the organization's ties to Donald Trump.
Well, he did, but to be fair, he was so close to retirement that was not a significant decision to make. It's not like he's forgoing all the royalties he's getting from them.
Imagine, because I'm pretty close to retirement too, right? Every day I think it's going to be my last day. What if I quit?
If you want it to be your last day, I could just go off on a tangent.
You could. What if I took a stand on principle because this company now, Rogers, is the majority owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs starting pretty much now. So I don't want to be associated with that, do I?
I'm not going there.
Okay, you don't.
I am not going there.
I love my job. I want to keep it through the holidays and beyond.
But also I'm a Sens fan. So
okay,
that's just it. So glass houses. I cannot, you know what I mean? If I throw any shade anywhere, it's just too easy to come back at me. So I try to be good karma. I can't make fun of any team out there, even the Sabres.
All right. I like that shot at the end. Jersey Bill, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Yes, yeah. I just have come to the conclusion that the old ideologies don't really seem to work anymore.
The what now?
And, the old ideologies,
Ideologies,
right.
sorry. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And what we're left with is political parties that might favor a functioning government and those that don't. And of course, we see that with Mr. Trump. He just he tends to want to just subcontract all. If he could subcontract all of government out, especially if somehow he get a kickback in doing so, he would do so. Now up here you have this deal where if the NDP start to show a little life and they take votes away from the Liberals. I think the Conservatives too here are going in that direction, that they simply don't like government. They want to have when they talk about a business oriented government, they really want to subcontract out pretty much a lot of the functions to the business class, which it's a legitimate idea, but I just don't think in the long term it's good for society. And that's where I feel politics up here is going, and unfortunately, it's already gone that way down in the States.
All right, Billy. Appreciate the call as always. I've said for a long time we need a new ism, but I'll park that. I feel, David, as though Mark Carney might be in Billy's. If I'm not reading too much into or putting words into his mouth, I mean, how many business people are now running government ministries and/or departments? I feel like Mark Carney has moved in that direction.
I would go in a different direction, but I was going to agree with you. But now you've got me thinking it's going to be very, very interesting because we have Bill Blair's seat opening up because he's announced his resignation. Very safe seat. Chrystia Freeland's seat opening up. Very, very safe seat. Who can Mark Carney attract for these safe seats with the offer of a cabinet position?
But even within, like Tim Hodgson would be an example, right? There's a guy with deep business experience that Carney brings into his government.
Trudeau brought in Morneau, but what I'm finding interesting...
And then got rid of Morneau, anyway.
But what I'm finding interesting about Mark Carney is feels to me like he's the first leader since Jean Chrétien who just said we're going to do things differently and we're going to find the votes over there for doing things differently. I found Justin Trudeau, Stephen Harper, Paul Martin were increasingly of the school of these are my voters and I just need to keep finding them. And it doesn't matter if the pool's a bit smaller, I just need to get them out there. And so you had all these parties becoming narrower and narrower and narrower in their bases. So Pierre Poilievre came along and he did something similar in terms of the trucker vote and Conservatives getting the youth vote this time around. But Mark Carney has come in and totally flipped the Liberal coalition on its head and is now going out there and saying, where are the Liberal voters in favor of pipelines? You heard what he said about Trudeau's carbon or environmental regulations? Too much regulation, not enough action. Like, he is putting all of this on the table and is asking the public to believe in these ideas and back him up on it rather than going, what does my base want? And that, to me, it's like we're going to be splitting up the pie differently. He's wedging the Conservatives. Remember, we were talking about what is wedge politics a couple of weeks back. He is wedging the Conservatives by taking away the issues that Conservatives used as wedges.
David Drewe is sticking around during our Talkback hour today. Phone lines open to you. You start the conversation on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Lines are open. Call now.
519-570-2545.
1-800-570-5715.
And star 570. The Mike Farwell Show, 12 o'clock Talkback Hour, continues in a moment.
On 570 News Radio.
This hour of the Mike Farwell Show is brought to you by Factory Flooring, proudly Canadian for over 30 years. Victoria Street North next to Tim Hortons. ffcarpet1.com.
If you're overwhelmed by the news cycle,
let us help you with that.
I'm Cormac McSweeney.
I'm Gurdeep Ahluwalia.
And I'm Melanie Ng.
At The Big Story, we slow the news down and examine one big story in depth.
Something that matters.
To give you some clarity amidst the chaos.
Join us, along with our team of award-winning journalists, on The Big Story.
Available every weekday morning.
Listen on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Why do I love getting my last-minute gifts at Shoppers Drug Mart? Well,
they said there'll be snow at Christmas. They said there'll be peace on earth. But instead it just kept on raining. A veil of tears for the virgin birth. I remember one Christmas morning, a winter's light and a distant choir, and the peal of a bell and that Christmas tree smell, and eyes full of tinsel and fire.
That is Greg Lake, and I Believe in Father Christmas, by request from Denna and Randy, Farwell's Force numbers 5 and 20. It is an all request Monday Christmas songs edition. And every day on this show from noon until 1, we open the phone lines, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. We even do it on Wednesdays. It's the Talkback Hour, and we continue with Kyle this afternoon. By the way, David Drewe is still in studio with me today. Good afternoon, Kyle.
Good afternoon, number 6 here. First of all, Mike, go knock on your door that you grew up in. I still go to Dune Village every once in a while to see my neighbors that I've known since I was a baby. They remember me coming home from the hospital. And even though I moved out of there when I was 5 and we moved to the States, they still kept in touch with the family. So it's nice to go see the old neighborhood there every once in a while.
But do you ever go back into the house that you were in?
I've done it once.
You what?
I did it once.
You did it once.
And it's changed quite a bit. I mean, like, I still have the memories as a kid, like where I was and stuff, right? But I mean, I was so young that I don't remember some of the, like how the layout was much and things like that. So anyways, David Drewe, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful little holiday. Before I let you go, you're giving out presents to, what does Donald Trump get for Christmas and Mark Carney, what do they want for Christmas? So I'm going to hang up the phone. What should I get for Christmas, David Drewe? Thank you very much. Happy holidays, my friends.
Ketchup is the only answer, David.
No, but refresh me. Kyle's a trucker?
Kyle's a courier driver.
A courier driver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe one of those beady orthopedic back seat covers.
I like that.
Like, no, but you know what I mean? Something for driving.
What if he gets too comfortable and falls asleep?
Okay, so one of those beady seat covers and some Red Bull.
There you go. Perfect. We got it covered. We got this stuff figured out. There you go, Kyle. Enjoy your Red Bull and your beady seat cover. Paul from Preston, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you today?
Great, thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad for a Monday. Got a couple things. On Friday, I think it was Dave was asking about Bart Winkler's show, and he's out of Wisconsin. And aren't you glad that you're the play-by-play guy for the Rangers and not the Leafs?
Yes. Yes, I am. Because the team that I do play-by-play for actually wins once in a while.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that'd be hard to call in those Leafs, Mike. I can tell you that.
Absolutely it would, Paul.
You have a great holiday, Mike, if I don't hear from you tomorrow.
Thanks, my friend. You too. Great to hear from you today. I will be here tomorrow, noon until 1. And just on that note, it's funny, I ran into a former Kitchener Ranger last evening. He is now a member of the Waterloo Regional Police Service, and he was out there on the ice with the Blue Crew when they took on that U16 AAA team of the Kitchener Rangers for a charity game in support of One Roof Youth Services. And this former Ranger, who hasn't been gone all that long, less than 10 years, Curtis Meehan is his name, he asked me how much longer I was going to be doing it. I'm like, how old do I look, Curtis? Why would you? What the heck? How? And then I did admit it's a lot of fun right now, but it might be because the team is doing well. The next time we're in our down cycle with the Rangers and they're winning, I don't know, 18 to 25 games a year instead of 35 to 45, it might be a different story.
Oh, so you're a bandwagon jumper.
I'm 100% a bet. No, come on. I'm sticking with my boys until they drag me out of here.
No, but this is like you were talking about Pittsburgh before. It's like you're a fan. You just don't invest anything in them.
Not this year.
What is your definition of fan?
Fan is you always you are loyal to the team.
So you're loyal to them.
I'm still following the scores, but I'm not going to waste time watching that geriatric loser of a quarterback that we have. He makes me so mad. Everything that goes wrong, he blames somebody else, and he's embarrassing. He's embarrassing. That's all.
He's the Justin Trudeau of quarterbacks?
He's the Justin Trudeau of quarterbacks, except he doesn't have enough sense to retire. Eventually, Trudeau figured it out.
Well, he needs his Christopher Freeland to bail on him.
I guess so. Andre, our good friend, is next here on Talkback. Good afternoon, Andre.
Good afternoon, Mike. Good afternoon, Mr. David Drewe.
Merry Christmas.
My favorite, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and very important. I have a couple questions about politics. And when for one, it's a very sad moment in the world, so it's hard to be happy, but we can be kind to each other. But the question is to you, because you're my number one advisor in politics, because I listen to Mike every day. Is the future of Canada. I heard this year that Canada is going to a transition with Carney, and I don't like it, and a lot of people don't like it, and I don't like it letting it lingering. My second question...
Wait. I missed the question, Andre. What's the question?
That Canada is going into a transition.
Is Canada in a transition?
Yeah, we're not Canada that used to be.
Right. Okay. Listen.
Okay. The answer is yes. Next question.
Okay, but what Andre...
I'm just worried that by the time we get to the third question, I'm not going to remember the first.
So I let Andre go on that. What kind of transition is Canada currently in, David?
Easiest way that my mind's going to jump to is what we were talking about on Friday when you said, "What's the story of the year?" And I said, "The new normals." Like, we are trying to shift trade away from the U.S., and that's kind of like the moonshot in that we are defying gravity. There's a reason that, I think it was 20% of our trade with the U.S. was tariff-free eligible, but they just didn't bother filling out the paperwork to become tariff-free because it was that convenient. We have the NDP. Their report said apparently that they no longer speak to the working class and they are condescending in their language to their markets or to their voter base. There's a whole lot of this transitioning going on in a whole lot of ways. And let's not forget, generational fairness. We are seeing the youth voting right wing as opposed to left wing for the first time ever. And now we are starting to see seniors voting left wing more than ever because of security, and it's on both sides. We are having the fruit of the last 30 years coming home to rot right now.
It's a very interesting time for this country.
Okay,
Very interesting.
Was there a second question?
Well, I had to let Andre go because
Andre. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Andre, our good friend who tends to go in 38 different directions at a time, and we didn't want to lose any more time in that. What happens in the Drewe household over the holidays?
Okay, first of all, it's not the Drewe household because I'm not in charge.
Well, I didn't want to out anybody else. So
it's Banjo's house. she runs that dump.
That's kind of like Rosie's house, yes.
Yeah. Not that much. We're not going to be heading up to Sudbury this year to see my family. My family's not coming down here. We are going to do a day with my better half's family, and I think they're going to be letting us host on a non-Christmas day.
You will be returning for more Drew's Views in 2026?
I never answered your email.
I don't think you did.
I did. I'm going to come back for Friday Fours. I'm going to come. By the way, I love coming here because it allows me to hear the sound of my own voice, which is why I would really like it if you could get your episodes up to date on the website because I need to go home and listen to myself.
Jen, on the other side of the glass, are you paying attention? For some reason, Friday's episode did not get uploaded. David needs it uploaded. We're going to get on that right away, right? Yeah, she's nodding her head.
Okay,
There's your
while we're
Christmas
there, maybe
present.
today's too.
Maybe today's too. Yeah, but that takes a little while.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
See
Dave
you
and
next
Drew,
year.
I look forward to it. Sticks around for some calls today, and we'll take more from you as Talkback continues on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
If we make it through December, everything's gonna be alright, I know. It's the coldest time of winter. I shiver when I see the falling snow. If we make it through December, got plans to be in a warm town come summertime.
A little bit of Blue Rodeo, and if we make it through December, by request from Phil on this all request Monday Christmas Songs edition. If we're going to be here on Monday and Tuesday this week, which we are, you bet your bottom dollar we're going to play Christmas music at your request throughout the show. That's what we've been doing today. We'll do it again tomorrow. I promise you that. Back to the phones here on Talkback for Greg. Good afternoon, Greg.
38, Greg, that is.
Farwell's Force member number. Good afternoon.
Let's do a rave and a rant. Rave for David Drewe there, because I heard him give me a plug for a good attitude in music. So, gotta love that. Now, the rant to you, Mike, you keep cutting my songs about half of everybody else's that you play. Do you notice that?
No, I don't notice that. All I know, Greg, is I can play less than, I have to play no more than 59.9 seconds of any song. That's all I can do. So get your stopwatch out if you want, but
Mine was nowhere near that, especially today because the good part was just about to happen about how they, we're not
again,
going to take
Greg,
it.
I get 59.9 seconds maximum. So if I get the gist of the song or the song title comes out, boom, I got to move. I have no choice in the matter.
Okay, I guess I better pick one with the title a bit later then. So,
but if the title's later, then you might not get it in the first 59.9 seconds. Do you see the struggle I'm fighting here, Greg?
Okay, I hear the strategy now. So now I'll pick more carefully based on that.
I try to get the folks playing the music to start it at the most important part. But I'm telling you, Greg, all I can do, the maximum I can do is 59.9 seconds. So anytime before that feels like a good exit point from the song, I have to take it.
Okay, fair enough. Got it. And then also just one other thing. I just checked. There's some room on the Buffalo Sabres bandwagon with me if you're interested in doing another jump.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Chicken wings and all are there. So, but all right, whatever works then.
All right, buddy.
Just thought I'd offer you that gift.
Thank you.
Year,
I appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Take care, Greg. One time, I did in my mind, I quit on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll never forget the day. It still felt like winter, but it was the off season of 1998. I say it still felt like winter because I was living in Thunder Bay at the time. And I was walking to work because I was young and in radio. And when you're working in radio and you're young, you're making $0.00. So you don't have a car. So I walked to work every day. And I was so upset with my team. I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to quit on this team unless they do something that makes me believe I'm done. And that very day, I went to work and they announced the free agent signing of Curtis Joseph. I'm like, okay, it's a sign from the hockey gods. The funny thing is, back on that day in 1998, I was going to choose some random new team, the Carolina Hurricanes, as my new team. And if I had done that and stuck with it, I, of course, would have seen a Stanley Cup championship already. But nope, I stuck with my Leafs. I'm not much like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was annoyed with the Steelers signing Aaron Rodgers. I thought it was dumb. I don't like Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback or as a person. So I just said, you do you, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not investing time in you. So I don't sit around for 3 hours on Sunday and watch the games. I do other things. I'm still a fan of the team. And when I'm happier with them and their personnel choices, I'll watch again. Last night, I turned on the Leafs game, and when they went behind 2-0, I just gave up. I didn't think this team had it in itself to make the comeback, which they didn't. So, see, I saved myself the time. But I'm still a fan. I'm allowed to be a critical one, I think, I hope. Rory, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Mike. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I start, my son, who you know very well, is looking for his number.
Oh, well, I would be delighted to offer the young lad number 261, Rory. How's that?
260. Well, he wanted number 1, but I told him that nobody trumps Mary.
I'm sorry. Nobody. We dare not do that. But how? 261. How about that?
That sounds great. Yeah, maybe he might want 267, but I'm not going to go there.
Oh, Rory. Okay. 261 it is, smart Alec.
261 it is, my friend. Yes,
okay.
Please. We don't need any more of that in the house. I thought the discussion around floor crossing was put to bed, but you brought it back to life, Mike, today. I haven't been able to call in about it. My own personal opinion on floor crossing is, if there is a reason that an MP needs to do it, that they should at least sit as an independent until the next election. But I do want to remind to all the outraged conservatives out there a quote that I recently came across. And if you can bear with me for a moment, Mike. Mr. Speaker, as I have said before, I believe members of Parliament should have the freedom and be accountable to their constituents for their decisions at the next election. However, in my observation, the only parties that really have this as an obsession are the parties that no one ever crosses to. So, not sure if you remember that quote from almost 20 years ago, Mike, but that is the Conservative Supreme Leader, the Honorable Stephen Harper.
I remember the quote, sir. Thank you for the reminder.
God bless, Mike.
You as well, my friend. I take a little bit of umbrage, and I get it, because it is mostly conservatives that have been really expressing outrage here. And you can determine for yourself what is my political stripe. I've been called everything but late for breakfast on this show over the years. I am offended. My sensibilities are offended, and my belief in democracy is lessened by floor crossing. I'm with Rory. You want to do it? Fine. But you have to go back to the public that voted you in as a member of one party to see if they will vote you in as a member of the other party. That's all I'm asking. I don't care. And it just so happens the last two floor crossers, were conservatives turning liberal. If they were liberals turning conservatives, I would say the same thing. If they were liberals turning NDP or Green, it doesn't matter. You don't do that to the people that elected you under one banner and then go and switch to another one. Period. It's not, for me, it's not a partisan thing. But I'll just leave it there. And we'll move on to Ron, Farwell's Force member number 32, is with us on Talkback. Hello, Ron.
Hey, how's it going? Farwell, so you asked the question about going back home. I'd say do it.
You say do it.
Instead of you can do it, going there physically, have you ever thought of doing it online?
Meaning what?
Meaning what? Okay, so a lot of websites now, like the realtors, will put the whole house up online.
Only if it's
so
for
you
sale.
Actually see it on
but only,
website.
But Ron, only if it's for sale.
No, actually, beforehand too. They do have the older pictures.
I can't just go to some random address and take a virtual tour of the house, can I?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they exist out there.
No, I don't believe you. Okay, well, even if I did, I don't want to do it on my computer, do I? I guess it's an option.
I mean, if you don't feel comfortable asking the person in person, it's another option for you to do it.
All right. You know what? Fair point. So what Ron's talking about, and I'm glad he brought it up, because I'd love to spend a few extra minutes on it. I got too far behind myself this morning when I first brought this up. But I get especially nostalgic at this time of year. And I always take a long winter's walk into the old neighborhood. And I go past two places. One is the house where I grew up. I was only there till I was 6 years old, but I have the memories of being there in the neighborhood and going and playing by the train tracks, because that's what you did in the 1970s. You played by the train tracks. Nobody cared. Imagine I'm still here to talk about it. Anyway, but I go past the house, and I actually think I even know the gentleman who lives there now, and I bet you he wouldn't care at all if I knocked on the door. But I don't know if I want to be that guy, but I am very interested in seeing inside, and when I walk through the door in person, in real life, not virtually, what it feels like, because I can still remember, like, go through that front door and you're right into the living room, and then off to the right was kind of a den area where we had the console stereo, a piano was in there back in the day, and then down the hallway to the end, on the right there would be one bedroom, that was my parents' room, to the left would be the kitchen, which led downstairs, and on that hallway, down to the back bedroom and the kitchen, would be the stairs going up where there were two more bedrooms for the kids, and we eventually outgrew that place. But I am interested in seeing what it looks like now and what those memories would feel like as they wash back over me. The other one that I'm even more curious about, especially at this time of year, because I remember going there for holidays and Sunday dinners, is my great-grandma's old place. But when I walk past there, and it's not too far from the house where I grew up, I can tell easily from the outside that this is sublet into at least 3 different units. And one of them is what used to be the kitchen. Like, I can only imagine what that little unit or section of the house is like. But I remember the place so fondly because it's an older home, and there were these sliding doors between the dining room and the living room, and we'd have the dinner around the big dining room table and then slide open those doors and go watch The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. I remember the Christmas gatherings there, and I just want to, like, I really feel the tug of walking back inside that place, but I'm not sure I want to see it the way it is now. You know what I mean? Anyway, I thought, have you ever gone home before? Have you ever gone back to a place you lived and went inside? Do you think I should do this? Or am I just being a sappy old fool? We'll continue talk back, and you can tell me whether or not I'm a sappy old fool, or maybe you've got some advice on having done this before. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Alvin. Alvin! Okay! Christmas, Christmas time is near. Time for toys and time for cheer. We've been good, but we can't last. Hurry, Christmas, hurry fast.
Oh, it is the Chipmunks. They are the Chipmunks. And Christmas time is near. By request from Francis on this All Request Monday Christmas Songs edition. Keep them coming. We've got another show tomorrow that we will fill with your Christmas song requests. We continue talk back now with Mark. Good afternoon, Mark.
Afternoon, Mike. Listen, Mike, go back to the house and knock on the door. I have done that.
What was it like?
It was nice. I met the owner. I didn't go inside the house, Stanley Park area, but they put in a new pool. I thought very cool. And, I told him I lived there for when I was growing up as a kid. And, he was a very friendly guy. You're going to like the experience, Mike.
They didn't think you were weird, eh?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks,
So
buddy.
there you have it, Mike.
All right. I appreciate that.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, Mark. Have a great afternoon. Good to hear from you today. Lisa, good afternoon.
I don't know, Mike. I think they are going to think you're weird, but I still think you should do it.
Yeah, see, that's easy for you to say, right? You go be a weirdo, Farwell.
You know what? My mom's going to be 90 next year, and she grew up in Kitchener on George Street. Anyway, the house where she and her family grew up, she actually went and they knocked on the door, and the people that bought it are restoring it bit by bit, and they actually showed her through the house, and she was quite amazed at doing that. But Mike, the reason I called is there's this house basically on the corner of Tressler and Ottawa, I believe, which is sitting there waiting development, but the house has to stay. I don't know if you know where I mean, but it looks like a Frank Lloyd Wright house.
Oh, yes, I know the one exactly. Yep.
So when we drive by it on our way to Sunrise, I'm always thinking, gee, I'd love to see that. And you know what I found over the weekend? There's actually a YouTube video of some guy I guess he sneaks into buildings. I don't think he's supposed to be there, but anyway, he's gone through the house room by room, and you can actually see what it looks like now, and it's actually pretty cool. So I just want to put it out there for all the people who drive by that and think, gee, I'd like to see what that looks like. I mean, there's been a lot of vandalism, but the structure's still there, and it gives you an idea of what it was like back when it was lived in. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate that.
And I'm number 59. I'm happy I'm going to be 59 forever, Mike.
You are 59 forever, Lisa. You got it. Have a great day.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. I think Ken's email to Mike at 570news.com hits it the very best. On your walk, drop a note in the mailbox explaining your interest. That might be the best way to succeed. That's not a bad idea. And then Tanis sends an email to Mike at 570news.com. I went to see my home that I grew up in on Blucher Street. Yes, I'm also a North Ward girl. See, I was North Ward too. It was over on Decay. Went to Sacred Heart School. Oh, you went to Sacred Heart School? Tanis did with my Aunt Joyce. Oh, my homestead had an open house when it was for sale. See, I would absolutely do. I would absolutely scope it out that way as a prospective buyer. But I don't know. I'm worried about just randomly knocking on the door. Tanis goes on to say, also, what we did for our anniversary, I married a St. Jerome's boy 66 years ago. Bless your heart, Tanis. And we had moved into our residence 10 times, or we had moved our residence 10 times in our marriage and decided to visit each one of them on our special day. And we took photos all in Kitchener and Waterloo. Lots of memories for sure. Knock on that door of your childhood home. You will be happy, says Tanis via email. There you go. Ernie, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hey, Mikey. I'm just with Ray and Zaner here, and they're way braver than I am. They wanted to call in and say hi, but so we just hit up Costco, and I would much rather have listened to your show than the zoo that was in there with 2 kids. That's for sure.
You're a better man than I am.
So they got their hot dog and pops, so we're happy, and then they want to give you a Christmas message here.
Okay. Ernie, we can't hear a thing.
You got to say it loud. Say it loud.
Ernie, we can't hear a thing.
Oh, okay, sorry, they're not loud enough. They said, Merry Christmas, Mike. Boo Steelers and go Ravens, even though it's a hard day to call in today. Take care, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, you too, Ernie. Merry Christmas, kids. I hope for Christmas you get better taste in football teams. Walter, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Good afternoon. Hey, you're just like Santa Claus today, Mike.
I know. I'm just giving out the gift of talk radio.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I understand what you're talking about. In my house that I grew up in, I go by it all the time because I have friends that still live in that same neighborhood, and I always wonder what it's like. And I guess it all depends on what memories you have in that house, eh? So, mine were good. So the house went up for sale, like you were saying earlier, that you do it that way. So I went through on an open house, and, the part I wanted to see, because our house, it actually had no basement at all in the place. And when I was about 15, my mom got me and all my friends in the neighborhood, and we actually have dug out that basement by hand. And she put up shag rug from ceiling to wall and put a bar down there. And it was very cool.
I love it. I love that. Yes.
So I went through, had a look at it, and not much had changed. But I looked at that room and I went, yeah, I remember that. That was a lot of hard work, shoveling that. But okay, man, take care.
All right, Walter, thanks very much for the call. I appreciate it. That's pretty cool that it didn't change a whole lot. Brenda's email to Mike at 570news.com says, I go back home regularly. 4 years ago, my childhood home happened to be for sale and my daughter bought it. So that's pretty cool. And Heather says, yes, absolutely go back. My father and mother built our childhood home in Caledon Hills. And about 15 years ago, my daughter and I were up in that area and knocked on the door. We identified ourselves and they knew who the original owners were. and they were fine with us being there. Well, maybe I will. And of course, if I do, if I screw up the courage, I will absolutely report back with my findings in the old Farwell homestead in the North Ward of Kitchener. I got to get out of here for today, make some room for, I think, Rob Snow, and Now You Know is coming. I should have checked the schedule. I'm sorry. We're in a kind of holiday mode around here, but I'll tell you this for sure. I promise you, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9. And I invite you to join me one more time before the Christmas break, okay? My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.